Please excuse the mess. The SonarFeed appears to be having a few difficulties.
It's a fantastic honour to put the GB vest on again, and hopefully I'm going to do the country proud, and for the East Midlands.
Ross Fletcher, East Midlands Today, Leicestershire.
Great shot. Good man.
Hey.
A lovely report from Ross there, but his talents don't stop there. Oh no, because while he was out filming that today, he proved that he might just be wasted as a reporter. Watch this and marvel.
Here we go. This is for bloopers. Yes, it's gone in. Fletcher's done it again.
On camera. Thank you, good night.
Absolutely no way for me to top that, I don't think.
Welcome to SonarFeed, episode 148, the Fletcher episode. Let's go.
The man, the myth, the voice.
Yes.
Ross Fletcher.
La voz.
La voz. The voice.
Love it.
The voice. The past voice at this point now, but the voice. Not to bring it up too early, but you know, yeah, rub it in right away.
Wasted wasted no time at all.
No time at all. So, well, yeah, we still the voice. You still have a voice. Yes, true. Good point. So tonight we are on SonarFeed. It is episode 148. Hashtag Aaron out also has been told to me here. My name is Aaron Riley, a.k.a. Sonar Riley. Across from me is
Hugo Garcia, a.k.a. Mi Vida Seattle.
And our special guest tonight, Ross Fletcher.
Hi.
A.k.a. Ross Fletcher 1.
Hi.
Ross is I told him we were going to ignore him, but not. You can enjoy this part, and then we'll ignore you for a minute.
Okay, see,
I
trying to
messed
be quiet.
up. Yes.
Yeah, I was trying to be quiet.
You can talk. No, absolutely.
I was like, should I be on this little camera? Should I be outside? Should
No
I
one
pretend
wants
I
to
even
see us.
exist? I mean, come on. What is this 2-bit operation you guys are running?
It's called SonarFeed. It's called SonarFeed.
All right, gloves are off. That's it. All right, gloves are off. So tonight we're gonna deviate a little bit from our normal routine. We're gonna focus on Ross tonight, as we've done on many of our other special guests.
Yes.
There obviously is not a lot happening. Nothing happened in the last week, sounder related.
Nope.
We learned some we learned a few geography lessons. And the whole place went quiet. Anyway, so we're going to do our normal little intro, and then we're going to jump right into talk about Ross and kind of his life and all that good stuff. So, Hugo,
this is going to be awesome.
Other than a terrible result, how was your week?
Let me tell you, 10 hours of tailgating to watch that was painful. But still had a good time hanging out with friends. But the highlight, even though I didn't get a chance to see it in person, but I was told all the details as my niece, 5 years old, had her first hat trick this past weekend.
Ooh.
Yes. Penny scored 3 goals, and it was a full 180 switch from her last game. Last week was her first game ever. And let's just say she really likes the leaves on the pitch. The leaves got a lot of attention. But this week, there were no leaves, and you know, my brother and sister-in-law brought hot cocoa. That makes a whole difference. At halftime, she had hot cocoa, and man, she took her playing to the next level. Apparently, quote from my brother is, after her 3rd goal off a set piece, she just looked back at her dad or my brother and said, "That was easy."
Well, no backflips?
Yeah, you got to work on that.
Yeah, no joke.
Little open flips.
I think she's young enough that it shouldn't be that hard. So definitely that was really cool, man. I've just been working a lot. I was getting ready for the Seahawks game because we knew it was going to be a big tailgate. We saw what disaster that was, but my niece scoring 3 goals was really cool, and I'm lucky that Heather's here, the 2-pole aficionado, who's giving me tips, and we're gonna get a 2-pole for my 5-year-old niece at her games. So I'm gonna be that uncle. I'm gonna be that Tio.
Yeah,
like it.
Yes.
I like it. That's good.
Move over, competitive dad. It's competitive uncle time.
It is.
Right?
Yes. Yes. No question.
Good week. Actually, weird week, but good week. We're coming off of the Sounder season, obviously, and it's kind of that weird, new normal, as it were. We had all planned at this table. Almost every single person here had talked about going to Vancouver or Portland to travel with the Sounders. So that was kind of like a reality hit of, hey, guess what? Last week we did our show, and it was a very cathartic. We had a few people watching who had their kids watching. Who we went off on a couple tangents that were,
was the day after, so it's always tough.
Tough, it was. But we laughed, we cried. I mean, one point I was like, we full on
laughed
tears.
myself to tears.
Yeah. I'm on the job hunt still. Things are going well there. Looking for a job. I had a really cool opportunity today.
Yeah, tell me
super
about
opportunity.
that, man.
There's been a job opening recently for this local sports team, so they called me in today to go interview for it.
Let's go. Let's go.
I'm sorry. All
Lovely
right.
seeing you guys. Anyway, I'm just going to drink up here.
All right.
New record, shortest guest day ever.
But cheers to Ross.
man.
Ross, thank you for coming in.
Welcome. to
I warned
SonarFeed.
Ross a little bit that we were going to have a little bit of fun, but that's my one little thing. I do want to before
That's
we go
two already. That's not one. That's two.
I can't count. All right, it's one. It's the exchange rate. The one thing I want to say is that we always ask our guests before what's off limits, etc. We will take all questions as we always do. There are some things that Ross will not answer, and I'll let you decide that. But we're not going to go into the finer details of all the contract negotiations and/or employment separations. You guys can ask it, but it'll probably just be kind of we'll go around it. So just to put that out there, that out there.
Absolutely,
but we're not going to we're not going to put you on your feet to the fire.
No,
and,
this is more like a celebration.
Other than
Hang
me,
out
I
with
will.
you,
But, yeah,
which is amazing. This is really like
This is fun, guys.
myself, dude. Like it's the same guy who called all those amazing goals by Dempsey and the U. Oh my God, this is happening right now.
I was telling him before the show, I've listened to him in Singapore and Brazil and Italy, etc. And it's like, and now he's sitting across the table talking to me.
Yeah, hanging
It's pretty
out,
cool.
having a drink.
Well, I was going to until those two little occasions that you brought up.
Don't worry,
But hey,
everybody in the audience is also saying smack him and yeah,
Smack up.
yep, a lot of smack errands there. But anyway, so Ross, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's great to
good
be
to have
here.
you.
I appreciate you having me down. I love the little setup. There's even these lights right here just to make Hugo's head just shine and bounce off the forehead.
Yep.
That's a
question.
thing of beauty, my friend.
Sir, no joke. It has somehow gotten the attention of a couple cameras here and there at sporting events.
Yeah, a
I've been
couple.
known to get spotted, whether it was before the Super Bowl, hanging out with who's that guy that did the movie Galaxy?
Chris something or other. Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt. So-
I'll say
at the-
Robbie Keane. No.
Oh God!
Different galaxy.
Different
Sorry.
galaxy, yeah,
Yeah.
different
Galaxy.
The good galaxy, not the bad
Yes.
galaxy.
That guy would not have been hanging out with me. Let me tell you that. No, just kidding. But it's definitely I don't want to call it a trademark, but yeah.
But it's a trademark.
It's a
But
trademark.
It's a
Yeah.
trademark.
It's a trademark,
It is.
so you guys know.
Yeah. Good. So Ross, let's talk about you.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's go way back.
Is this therapy or
Way
something?
back. It is.
Should I be
Totally.
lying on a chaise longue right now
Yes.
with the lights dimmed down a little
We
bit?
can do that.
and
Someone hit the lights a little bit
somebody
lower, please.
talking in a
That's the
soft
future.
verse.
That's a great idea for the future
We
shows.
should do a segment.
Yeah. The therapy from the couch.
We'll call it
There you go.
the Ross segment.
The Ross segment. Yeah, exactly.
I could be a consulting producer. I am a gun for hire after all.
That's right. I love it. So, we all know about you a little bit, but tell us tell us a little bit about like where you came from, where you started, etc. How you got in this business.
Oh my!
all that stuff.
You're taking me
Yes.
back. You're taking me back to when I was 19.
19.
I was already 3 years in the BBC in
Wow.
the UK, the broadcasting institution that I guess most people know and
Yep.
a lot of people love around the world. And I was so fortunate to start as basically a backroom tea coffee boy at 16 in my local
Nice.
BBC radio station. Move on 3 years, and to bring it up to now, I was in my very first week-long academy, basically, a training camp. They send you away for a week to learn and hone your skills. And you sat there with 4 or 5 other people, and they're all twice as old as me, because I'm this 19-year-old little prodigy or whatever, this upstart from the middle of England. And they said, okay, what we want you to do is to go into the opposite radio booth on your own, open the mic, talk about yourself for 5 minutes. And as a 19-year-old, you've got to remember, English people, on the whole, are much more shy than our American counterparts. And I went and hosted a poetry slam for America's Score Seattle the other week. And I was blown away by how great all the 13, 14-year-old kids were at getting up on the mic and giving it to someone, being amazing. Yes. When I was 14, I was like, oh, it's a microphone. Whoa, we're all going to die. So even at 19, I was a little bit nervous. Okay. And they said, talk about yourself for 5 minutes. And I thought, All right, hi, my name's Ross Fletcher. I'm from Loughborough, Leicestershire. I've got a mum, a dad, a brother and a sister, and I really like soccer. 12 seconds. Right. I've got another 4 minutes and 48 seconds. Can I just sing a song? I don't know. Like Bohemian Rhapsody, that's 7 minutes long. And so that whole question that you ask about, tell me about yourself, it's always how long have you got now? Because over the years, I've actually managed to widen it out and really bore people with a long answer. But the long story short, yeah, I started in broadcasting actually as a 13-year-old.
Wow.
When
So cool.
I noticed there was a competition on my favourite national radio station. It was like a sports talk station for a young BBC Radio 5 Live
Okay,
that
yeah,
I went
5 Live, yeah.
went to go
Yeah.
on and work for.
Yeah.
And it was, for all you budding broadcasters out there, we want
Attention,
you...
including myself, actually.
Yeah,
Pay attention.
we want you to send in your own 5-minute tape of play-by-play, and the winner will go to the League Cup final at Wembley that year in front of 90,000 people, and you'll get to do play-by-play. Okay, it didn't go out
Wow.
over the radio, but that was the
Still.
incentive.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'm up for this, because I was always a bit of a show-off at school, and when I was 10, I'd write the match reports and broadcast them out loud to the assembly, and all the kids would have to listen to me going on
Damn,
about.
man.
Even then, I had the spin. We'd lose
Ross was
5-1.
cool
I would
back
like
then,
go.
too.
We'd be losing 5-1. I'd say, and they scored, and then we went down the right wing, put a ball into the back post. Incredible volley from our guy, and it smashed in the top of the corner. They scored 4 goals. We lost 5-1, but we were amazing. So I clearly had it at that point
This
that I
is
wanted.
just happening right now.
Yeah, that I wanted to do broadcasting. I'm already on one, aren't I? I've only had
This is awesome.
half a beer.
Yeah.
And
Keep
so, 13, 14, it's an old C90 cassette tape that you put into one of those old subwoofer,
Yeah.
super woofer cassette decks. Press the record button, watch my 12-inch fuzzy television at home in my mum and dad's room, shut everybody out, including my stupid brother. I said, don't you dare shout over this. I'm about to become a national radio star. So I recorded Leicester City against Nottingham Forest off the television.
Wow.
And I don't think my voice had broken at that point. I've still got the tape in my mum and dad's loft somewhere. And it was, I mean, to say horrendous now is to say it lightly. And it was something like, Steve, Steve Rowe down the left-hand side, in he comes, up to the far post, Stan Collymore shoots, oh, what a good save by the goalkeeper. And I sent that tape into national radio. I really hope they haven't kept it.
Wow.
And
We're going to find it.
Well, actually,
We're
we
gonna
have it.
find it. Funny
Quick,
ass.
someone find it and send it to me. I'll put it on.
I impressed them so much that I didn't win. I got a runners-up baseball cap for my my efforts. Basically, they had 6 winners. There was probably only
Wow.
7 entries, to be honest.
Wow.
This sounds like the S2 play-by-play thing,
And
which you voted
had
on.
a lot of
I
fun.
heard you voted on. I heard you were the one who voted us down.
hey,
I'm kidding, I'm
for
kidding.
those earlier comments, that, my friend, is karma.
Boom!
not of the good playoff variety. So either way, anyway, back to me, 'cause it's all about me, right? Yeah.
No question.
And I was hooked on broadcasting from age 13, 14.
man.
Got a job
Love
at my
it.
local radio station, worked unpaid for a couple of years, Christmas holidays, whatever. They just basically said, look, let's exploit you, you're keen. And I did any shift going, and I got my start, and then went to college and carried on broadcasting through college.
Okay.
Actually came out without any debt because I managed to do basically 3 days a week at the BBC station. And then on the day of my last exam at university, it was advanced econometrics, and I hated it.
Wow.
Hated it. I did an economics degree and hated it, but I always knew
Why?
I wanted to be a
Why would
broadcaster. Well, because I was already doing the radio, and that was my passion. I thought, I want a proper job to fall back on in case this lark never happens.
Right.
And so on the day of my last exam, 9 till 12, I remember it clearly, advanced econometrics. I was dreadful. I should have revised. 12 p.m, got straight out into my little car, bombed it down the A38 road, which goes from Sheffield in England down to Derby, where I was being interviewed for a job.
Yes.
And this was a full-time sports broadcaster's job with the BBC. So at 20 years and, I don't know, 300 days, I did this interview at 2 o'clock.
Wow.
By 4 o'clock, I got home to my parents. At 5 o'clock, the phone rang, and it was the station editor saying, congratulations, you've got a job.
Wow.
And so I kind of fell into my first full-time job with the BBC at 20 and just went from there.
God.
That's so cool.
I've
And
had-
it was foretold by that baseball cap you won.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That you were going to end up at the baseball grounds
That's incredible.
for your first job.
That's right. Derby County was playing at the old baseball ground, the BBG,
Yes.
and that was a great old stadium.
I heard.
I
I
mean,
never. But tell us about it, because it started. I read a little bit, a little bit of homework. It's proper talent should do. I'm just kidding. But I find that it started as like a baseball pitch or a baseball stadium before they tried soccer.
Yeah, this goes back to,
Football,
the 1800s, where they had they initially played on a horse racing ground, and then they moved to this place called the baseball ground. They played a bit of baseball. Baseball's never really taken off in the UK.
Right.
Yeah.
We play this soft city version called rounders that you only play until you're about 11 at school, and then you give up and you go and play a proper sport like cricket.
Interesting.
Cricket, yeah.
And
It's reverse here.
Yeah, it is. It's funny. It's really
that'll
funny.
confuse the heck out of everybody. Cricket, I've learned that already. Just
Yeah.
don't talk about it. Apart from to Ravi, the sports science guy at the Sounders,
Yeah.
who puts all the tracking devices on the players.
Yep.
He
Oh,
loves
yeah?
his cricket. So
Oh,
me and him
wow.
bonded over our love of the red ball sport that everyone here just goes, "What are you talking about?"
Arlo White is the reason why I ever started, because he talked about it on Twitter, and that's the only reason I ever got it. I've not gotten into as much as I have soccer, but it's an interesting sport. I'd like to spend more time on it because it's
You're very kind.
no.
Most people don't say interesting. They say a lot worse when we talk about cricket here.
To me,
think
it is because
weird.
there's
It's
some,
just hard to get it for me. That's just me. I'm like,
yeah,
that's
but I
kinda
like the whole
weird.
idea of like a test match goes for like 6 days, right? Isn't that right?
Nearly, yeah.
Yeah.
Like 5 days is the
5
longest
days.
it'll
Yeah,
go
5
for.
days, okay,
But I mean,
but
we're
yeah.
splitting hairs when
Yeah.
you're there for.
Yeah.
And basically, you get loads of old codgers who sit there on the first day and fall asleep at 11:30, and the game starts at 11, and they're there with their like brim hats, their bowler hats, and it's just like, oh, let's see how many shots they can get on national TV of these guys falling asleep.
That's
But
awesome.
they're in it for the long haul. They know what they're doing.
That's awesome. So real quick, I'm going to break up your story for a second, then we're going to keep going on your story. The Gas Man is watching. Gas Man.
Yeah, I guess.
Hey, guys.
man.
He asks, he can't make it Thursday night. Can you bring a 6-pack to his house? Afterwards or before, one of the two? Can you help him out there, maybe?
I'll bring you 2 beers, guys.
All right, there you
All
go.
right, yeah?
Yeah,
We're on a
okay,
tight budget
good.
here. We're on a tight budget.
All right, so after this, then where do you go from there?
Oh, right. Well,
How do you meet Arlo? I mean, is this coming soon or is this later on?
so I was 19 when I met Arlo.
Okay.
And I was working part-time for the radio station.
Okay.
And in walks, and I hope Arlo won't mind me retelling the story, a 25-year-old plastic sheeting salesman from Leicester, 30 miles away, hating his job, selling plastic sheeting, and saying to my boss at the time, I want to be a sports broadcaster, I want to do soccer, can you help me out? And my boss, like what he did with me and so many other people, Colin Gibson, give him a shout out.
What was
He's
his name
now-
again?
Colin Gibson.
Colin Gibson.
Colin Gibson.
He's now director of communications at Derby County, and he basically, I owe a lot to him.
I'm gonna send you a shout out. We'll reach out.
Yeah, for getting me through his door, developing, nurturing me, and
Getting him here.
something about my talent, whatever it was, and got me to where I am today. And he did the same for Arlo, but I happened to be kind of along for the ride.
Wow.
And so Arlo came in at, as I say, 25, and there was no real kind of high-level stuff for him to do at the time because all those positions were taken. But Colin said to him, look, we can get you to do these non-league teams, which are like 8th tier, maybe 7th, 8th tier in the UK. So if you think about the Premier League, go 7 down, and in the leagues, you're like probably to the 150th best team in the league, whatever. There's 300 guys and 4 dogs go and watch these games.
Wow.
He said, we can't give you any money. Rather like my situation, to earn your start, that's how you have to do it. You're young and hungry. And he
Pretty
said,
much an internship.
do it,
Yeah.
go and do it, while selling his plastic sheeting. So he did on a Saturday, and I remember the first game he did was Bedlington Terriers against Mikolova Sports. Now, they
Wow.
are 2 non-hallowed teams or names. And he had to drive, I think, 4
Non-hallowed.
hours north, which in England is like going to the moon to
Right.
go and do a game.
Yeah, it's not like here. It's just
like going
that's
to
a drive.
Portland.
Yeah,
It's like going to Portland.
Portland, that's a short hop. And
Yeah.
in England, that is like going to the moon and back.
Yep.
And he did it for, I think, either no money or £5.
Wow.
And I was in the studio, and because I was still working my way up, but pressing the buttons and calling the reporters and saying, you're on next. And he was ready to go, and we had no idea how this Arlo White guy was going to do. You
right?
just don't, because it was random. This is the guy
It's like
who's come off the street and
traveling
said, give me a
sales guy all of a
chance.
sudden gonna. Okay.
Yeah. And so he was about to go on, and then there was some breaking news. And we said, I'm really sorry. He's on the end of a cell phone. You're going to have to wait. And he's sitting at a service station, a rest stop, with the team, because somehow we got on the team coach. He's like, okay, but the team coach is going to go soon. Can I do it? And we made him wait. And I remember him saying he was really, really nervous. And then eventually he came on the air, and no disrespect to the other guys who do those roles for not a lot of money, but generally because of that, they're very, very ingrained. They're passionate about their team, but they're not the best broadcasters.
Got it.
And they're kind of club guys who just do it for the love of it, and they're not great, but they're passionate. So we didn't know what would happen with Arlo. Normally the guys that come on would be like, okay, let's go to Nigel Smith at Belper Town. And the Belper Town guy who's been there 25 years would go, yes, Colin, here we are at Belper Town. It should be a good game, and we're really looking forward to it. So that's what we're kind of...
Sounds like the Sport and KC commentators. I'm just saying. He didn't say it, but I did. I'm just saying. Had to. It sounded so familiar. It sounded so familiar. Yeah.
So, we're waiting for Arlo. Are you done? And it's...
I can turn his mic off if you want.
And Colin cues him, because Colin's the presenter at the time. Okay, Mickleover Sports against Bedlington Terriers. Our man on the scene is Arlo White. Open his microphone, and it was just the most glorious minute and a half of sound you would ever hear. And it was that voice, that distinctive golden Arlo tone.
Wow.
It was competent, it was fluent, it was researched, it was spot on, it was to time. And we just looked at ourselves in the studio, myself and my colleague Pam, who was there, and went, I think we've got one here. And he was tremendous, absolutely tremendous in the word go. And I knew from then that he would go on to great things.
Yeah, wow.
And the thing is with Arlo, he carried on for a few months, did that, he got even better and better. And we knew there was no way we could keep him, because he was punching far above his weight, but there were no more opportunities in our station. So he wanted to move on. And at the end of it all, he said, well, I'm going to go for a national radio job. I don't think I've got a shot, but I need to do a demo tape and send it in.
Okay.
But of course, he doesn't have anything of a demo reel to send, because he's just done these games and nobody's recorded it and all that kind of stuff. So I had this bright idea. I said, okay, after your next game,
Thank you.
Come back to the studio. When we finish, we go off air. I'll jump back into the studio. I'll pretend I'm the presenter. I'll hit record on another of those C90 cassette tapes. It was still old school back then. And I'll pretend we'll mock up a lot of your match reports, because I said, have you kept your match reports? And he's a hoarder. And he said, yeah, I always keep all my stuff. Okay, get 4 or 5 of those. What we'll do is I'll go in the studio, and I'll pretend to present, and I'll cue you. You do your match report, stand outside in the parking lot. We'll make it sound like there's some atmosphere like you were at a game, and ham it up, and then I'll back announce you once you finished, which means to wrap up. That was Arlo White. So I said, okay, right, stand out there, hit record, and I went, so off we go. It's Alfreton Town against Stabley Miners Welfare, and Arlo White was watching this tremendous 3-1 encounter. Yes, Ross, well, here I am at Stabley Miners Welfare, where it finished, whatever. And he did that. We put the tape together. I edited the tape for him, gave it to him. He sent it off, and of course, with his quality, he got his job. So I did a little bit towards helping him get his first big break.
It was innovative.
And we just kind of stayed buddies ever since.
That's how you helped me get that push to the start, and you guys have been on that trajectory ever since.
Boys and girls, there's a big lesson here. You're young enough. Take advantage and enjoy and be good for other people around you. That is a fantastic story. That is, as I'm a dad, you're a dad, etc. It's one of the things I tell my kids. Is, look at your friends, look at your and your network of people, etc.
And even
if
be
good to them, it doesn't matter. You don't get nothing out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
But look how cool. I mean, the full cycle has come around for you. It was great, but you didn't do it going, he's gonna do something awesome for me later. He's gonna get me a job in Seattle. I'm gonna go to this awesome city in America. You did it because of exactly.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
This guy I could see had a great talent, and it deserved to be on the biggest platform possible. And anything you can do.
You're making me even sadder that you're leaving. I got to tell you right now. I mean, God damn, you're.
I mean,
it just oh my God.
It comes back to karma, doesn't it? You want to help good people. He's a good guy,
so much.
And he helped me out coming here. Well, he gave me the opportunity to come here, and I'll always be forever grateful to him. And we
are
stay in
too.
contact with
We
buddies,
are too.
and yeah, it's been a
so
fruitful
cool.
friendship.
Well, we'll give you a beer a week if you want to come down here every Monday
Oh yeah.
night.
No, I need
the skills owned at all times by all means.
Yeah,
if you give me a Gasman 6-pack, I'm yours.
a Gasman 6-pack. That might be a little bit of everybody.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure we could probably crowdfund that for people.
Love you,
They'd probably
Gasman.
get rid of Aaron,
Yeah.
bring Ross in, everyone would
we
be
might
happy.
incorporate it into a future Patreon.
Yes.
Hint, hint.
Yeah, there you go.
Patreon
I like that.
coming at you guys soon.
Okay, so let's finish up with your story. Then so from there, how much longer were you over in England before you came back over here then?
Yeah, a fair while. I moved here when I was 32.
Okay.
And I worked for the BBC for 16 years, man and boy.
Wow.
So I know I only look 27, so I started at 11.
I know the feeling.
obviously.
I know the feeling.
Yeah. And I gradually worked
It's not a
up.
joke.
It wasn't funny either. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Except everybody around us started laughing.
And
I paid them all. Don't worry, it's all okay. Don't worry about it.
That's good. No, that's good. And I gradually worked my way up through the ranks. You kind of earn your corn. In somewhere like the BBC, if you're good and you're noticed, you earn that right to move on up. So I actually got into full-time play-by-play at 23. I started doing kind of championship level, which is just below the Premier League, at 22, filling in for a kind of like a Dave Niehaus guy called Graham Richards.
Oh, okay.
Who'd been doing the Derby County
20
play-by-play
plus.
for 26 years. And this guy was an institution. He was also what's called a stipendiary magistrate in the UK. So a local judge,
Oh, wow.
who Monday to Friday,
Super official.
yeah, he would dole out the porridge to criminals, and then on a Saturday,
Wow.
he would go and pontificate on the football, the soccer. Yeah.
Oh, this is amazing. Before I forget, let me pick your brain. I read a little bit about him. What was the whole drama between him and the owner that he got sued and then later banned from the baseball grounds? What happened there?
Yeah,
I didn't know what that was
this-
about, but I couldn't find enough. I was like, wow, how could an icon for such a franchise, what happened?
This is a long, winding tale that ends up with a multi-million-dollar magnate allegedly falling off a boat in, I think, the Thames River in London and never being seen again, presumed dead, but nobody's absolutely sure. A guy called Robert Maxwell. And this is well before my time, so I don't know all the details, but in the mid to late 80s, Robert Maxwell owned a couple of soccer teams in the UK, Oxford United and Derby County. Now, he wasn't really a soccer fan, and I think he probably thought he could make some money out of these clubs. And so the story goes that he invests in Derby County, and things are going well for a while.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden there are rumblings that maybe things aren't quite what they should be. I don't want to go too far because I know this is being recorded. And so Graham Richards, as the championing judge and soccer broadcaster, takes it upon himself to out the wrongdoing of this owner, seeing as what he thinks is harm to the soccer club. And he eventually gave out Robert Maxwell's private phone number to his London office. He gave it out on the Monday night soccer phone-in show, which in those days in the 80s everybody listened to.
Sure.
And so basically said to Derby County fans, this man effectively is stealing money from our club.
Wow.
Phone him up and tell him what you think of him.
Wow.
And Mr. Maxwell wasn't too pleased with the tirades that started to come to his personal phone line.
House would do that today about the Mariners. God.
Oh my God.
But that's a wild and
Wow.
amazing story.
Holy cow.
And you filled in his shoes, basically.
Yeah, so I was 23, and this guy had been doing the commentary for longer than I've been alive.
Basically representing the people, all the fans, basically fighting for them and commentating.
I replaced a
That's
legend.
so scary, dude.
Yeah.
Wow.
And in a way that, I mean, I was already experienced when I came here, very experienced, but it was easier for me to slip into the role after Arlo, because Arlo clearly was beloved here and still is.
Yeah.
But for me, I'd done the challenge already of stepping into a guy's shoes
yeah.
who was adored for 26 years.
Oh, my God.
And of course, I was a very different style to Graham Richards, this deep, gravelly voiced, incredible turn of phrase broadcaster who I could learn a lot of. But I was never going to be him. I was the exact opposite. I was young, fresh, the modern dynamic, did things a different way.
That's cool.
And I learned
Still
very
with
early
an
on.
awesome vocabulary skills, SAT vocab. A lot of shout out to it.
Now,
Yes.
But I learned very much early on. Again, this is a lesson for any broadcaster out there starting out.
I'm paying attention.
Don't try and be somebody else. It could have been easy for me to slip into, I need to say things the way that Graham does. And he was quite acerbic, and he was very strong-willed and had very strong opinions. I didn't think like I'd earned the right, but at that point at 23, to come in and tell everybody like it was. So I developed my own style. As hard as that was, and as jarring as that was for the listeners, but over time they got used to me, and I stuck to my own principles and did that role for 8-9 years maybe.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Before then moving on and doing some national play-by-play and broadcasting with 5 Live, the station that I entered the competition for.
So awesome.
And then there's television work around that, all with the BBC. 5 Olympic Games from Beijing onwards for the BBC in 2008 up to now. I'm going to go to Rio in 2016 and do more broadcasting there. La-di-da-di-da. So to bring it up to speed,
That's so awesome.
That was the early career spooling on forwards.
All right, so before we go to Sounders, there's somebody on Twitter. Her name is Katie Townsend. I don't know if you know her.
Dark-haired girl, good looking.
Yeah. I mean, not that I'm saying that she's. I mean, by her picture, she's cute. Yeah, she's curious. She wants us to ask you what happens. Going back to Arlo real quick, what happens when Arlo and you go out for a night together?
And is there tequila involved? Oh, hold on. I think I know. I don't know how, but I think I know.
What, do we only have one beer and we share it?
No, but I hear it involves wrestling.
What? Wait, where did this come from? Where'd you know that?
On one of the in doing some research, he was doing an interview of Arlo White, and at the very end, I think it was caught as they were putting the mics down. He said something to the effect, "So are we going to wrestle after tonight or something like that?" So one of my questions was like, "Who won the wrestling? What happened?"
Right. Are we on the web or the deep web here? I mean,
Deep web. This is a 2-cent operation here. This is deep.
Don't worry, there are
deep
tens
web.
of 20s of 30 people watching. I mean, it's not like millions.
It's not like this is being preserved forever on YouTube.
Oh yeah, it will
right?
be.
Of course. No,
no, never.
Oh no.
It'll be up before midnight. Don't worry.
I can, Hugo. I can honestly say, hand on your shoulder, that Arlo White and I have never ever wrestled. But if you want to, Arlo, you're going down.
Love it.
That's awesome. All right, so now Arlo White's been in Seattle for a couple years. He became an instant, the city fell in love with him. He was
quite rightly.
He was our Dave Niehaus. He was, again, I told you before the show, but he's a guy that, I love the audio. I travel a lot, so I when I'm gone, I love to hear the voice, and I love somebody who gets the game and can say the game, tell the game, and I can picture it based on the voice. So now you're coming in, and does he call you early on, or how does that go on? I mean, or as much as you can talk about.
Yeah, I mean, there's no confidences there. It was a situation where the Sounders were approached by NBC, and they said, "We want to have you." And the club at the time, the Seahawks Sounders, said, "We want to keep you, but we understand. If you want to go, we don't want to stand in your way. We love to develop people." And the Seahawks broadcasting guys who brought Arlo in and eventually brought me in were tremendous in doing that, in nurturing the talent. And so Arlo was in negotiations and just said, "Look, I think I'm going to be moving here. They want somebody to replace me. I'd really like it to be you. Would you fancy it?" And again, it comes back around. We kept in touch, and he knew of my broadcasting credentials, and he knew that actually I'd taken note of what was going on in the Northwest a couple of years previously when I went to Vancouver and worked at the 2010 Winter Olympics. And I spent 4 or 5 weeks there up on Cypress Mountain at the freestyle skiing and snowboarding, and kind of lived in Vancouver for a while and got to love the area.
Nice.
And I knew Seattle was just south
Did
of
you
the
ever
border.
come down here by chance or no?
No. I didn't have time, but I loved Vancouver, and I knew that Vancouver was starting a team, so I was chatting with Arlo and said, "Look, hey, keep in touch. If you know of anything going on in Vancouver or whatever, then let me know." And Eventually, it wasn't Vancouver; it was Seattle. So he knew that I was kind of keen on making the move to Major League Soccer in the Northwest. It just so happened it was the best city in the Pacific Northwest that I landed in, and it was that tip of the cap from Arlo to me. And then I sent in my demo reel. Luckily, I didn't have to have Arlo put my reel together. I managed to put my own one together.
It was the undershot reverse shot that God sold the team on that, man.
It was that basketball demo.
I saw it somewhere there that you were beforehand, or you had a Sean Kemp poster somewhere.
Yeah, so this again was just a twist of lovely fate. That in 1996 I became a Sonics fan.
Finals.
It was the 96 finals.
Against Jordan.
Yeah, I was 16 at the time, and I actually played.
So was I.
Did you have hair back then?
I did, actually.
Very nice.
I used to
it's kind of weird looking. The pictures are weird. They're weird.
People are like, that was you? Like, yeah. I love that.
I was 16 at the time, and I actually played in high school more basketball than soccer.
Me too!
It was crazy how that worked out.
That was like one of my first loves, too, and
yeah.
the Sonics. I waited in line like 4 hours to get their new jerseys when they redesigned from the green and gold, which I really love, to this new, basically, kit. And I told my brother and I were waiting in line. I was like, dude, we're the first people in the universe to get these jerseys because we were the first in line. I was so excited. I got it.
You kept it?
I do have it. Obviously, it's I'm not say obviously, but it might be a little tight now. but it's somewhere around there.
You can just about get your arms through those holes, right? Yeah. But yeah,
awesome.
I was 16, and in the UK, that was a bit odd if you like basketball because everybody clearly is mad about soccer. But I had a bunch of friends who were really into basketball as I became.
You were ahead of the times.
And we had a great high school coach who really pushed us, and we played National League, and so we all kind of looked to the NBA for inspiration, as you do. But in the UK, at that time, mid-90s, you could only get on terrestrial television, the free-to-air stuff, one NBA game a week on a Wednesday night at 3 a.m.
Wow.
And now I should have been either sleeping, well, definitely sleeping at 3 a.m. or revising for my exams coming up before I went to college. But instead I thought, nah, forget it. I'm going to watch some NBA.
Watch some NBA.
Yeah, and this was the time when it was the Bulls and the Sonics
Kemp
finals.
Was the man.
It was Kemp, it was Gary Payton, it was Detlef Schrempf, Nate McMillan. You
go
on and on
Let's
and on.
Go. Oh my God.
And
bring the Sonics back.
And these guys in green were electrifying.
Oh, they were so, man.
And I remember also, randomly, I think I went on a French exchange around that time. Lived in France with a host family for a week, and at the end of it we went to their big grocery outlet and they said, look, go and pick a poster to remind you of your time of being here with us in France. So naturally I went in, found a Sonics poster with Sean Kemp and bought that.
Let's go, man.
Because, I mean, everything about living for a week in France says Sean Kemp of Seattle Supersonics.
No
right?
question. No question.
And then I stuck it on my wall.
That is so cool,
and I was a Sonics fan forevermore. Obviously from a distance, so I couldn't be quite as rabid as people in Seattle. And it was all dependent on the coverage we had from the TV at the time. But I became a Sonics fan. I remain a Sonics fan. And I tell you what.
Let's go.
If they ever get a team back here, which I think they will, I know Kevin Calabro probably has first dibs. I'd love to be next in line to do that.
You heard it here first.
Funny because Adam, who had to leave, I think he left. He was back there a minute ago. He asked earlier tonight if Ross consider being the voice of the NBA Sonics when they return. So at 6:29 p.m. tonight, he asked that question. So you would?
I mean, yeah, I would love to stay in the city. I identify with the basketball team.
Dope.
Whether they would want an English guy doing a largely American sport, I don't know.
It might get me back into NBA.
Yeah.
But hey, I know all the lingo.
Have you ever met Kemp since you've been here this last few years?
And this is the thing, because I actually, again, bizarrely, I'm friends with quite a lot of people who used to work in the front office of the Sonics.
Yep.
They have strong connections back to the team. Yeah. And they'd say, oh, let's go to Oscars down in Lower Queen. Let's go to Oscars. Oh, yeah. We'll get Sean out. Of course, it's bravado on their part. I love the fact that they would try and pretend that they could hook up Sean Kemp and just come down to the bar to see little old me. And we go in there and he wouldn't be there. And the bar girl would say, oh, yeah, I think he's coming in later. Which obviously is what she says to everybody who comes into the bar wanting to know whether Sean's coming in tonight. Makes you buy more drinks and then he doesn't turn up, and you come back again next week and hope he's turning up. So
Ross will be here next week, by the way, guys. Ross will be back next week in case you guys want to come back and buy more beers.
Well, as I say, if it's a Mike Gastineau six-pack, I'm absolutely here. So yeah, that was the thing. Sean
so
Kemp,
cool,
never got to
man.
meet him. I would love to meet the guy because he's a legend. He's an icon in my eyes. But yeah, bring back the Sonics, and I'll be there like a shot.
I have my cousin knows him. I'm gonna reach out, see what we can make.
Bring him down
happen.
here. We'll do a big show. There you go. You have homework to do.
Let's go.
All right. So now you come in, you replace the legend, the icon, etc. You only plan to be here for 4 years, which is awesome. Thank you for fulfilling your 4-year plan. That was awesome. And again, I'm treading lightly because I have my own comments that I want to say, but I won't. So now talk about your time here in 4 years. You were here for 4 years. You connected with and you embraced the city like it was your own. So obviously you love, and you've never been here really. You never visited,
No, not until they flew me out and said, "Look, we want to hire you," and that was it. 2011 was the first time I came here.
Okay. So talk about what it's like to be the voice of what is, some people call it the Yankees of the MLS, et cetera, right? All the fans at Starfire, at the Clink. You can't walk anywhere without people going, "Oh my God, Ross!" Right. So I talk about what your time was like here.
Privilege. Just an absolute privilege. Really has been. And I said it in my farewell. I did a little farewell in the television game, the last one I did against LA Galaxy. And I genuinely meant this for both me and my wife, and my 18-month-old who can't speak for herself right now, but for obvious reasons. We've never been accepted like we have in a city like Seattle is. Of all the places we've been, we've not been to lots and lots of different places, but from minute one, the welcome that we had and continue to enjoy here has been nothing short of astounding. The people you meet, the places you go, the relationships you build, everything about it has just been incredible. Everything comes back to people. It comes back, I suppose, to Arlo and I's relationship, to the fact that you guys were great to bring me on tonight and just talk about me for an hour or whatever, which is humbling because no one really wants to
4
listen
hours.
about me.
It'll be midnight. The bar doesn't close to midnight. We're gonna cancel karaoke. We're gonna keep talking all night.
Yeah.
But we're in with the owner, so you might be able to stay here past 2.
Yeah.
Maybe even time for Mike Gastineau to come down.
It's not too late. Not too late.
But yeah, I mean,
He only comes down when we pay him. It's okay. No,
right.
in beer.
And then to bring it full circle to when I announced that this would be my last season with the Sounders, and the outpouring from fans and people who watch the games on TV, who put up with me on radio, was mind-blowing. It was utterly humbling. And you have to take a step back. And there were many times, I'm doing it now, where you start to get a tear in your eye because you think,
only imagine.
This is incredible. Why do people care that much about an English guy, lanky Brit, who just talks about men kicking a ball towards a net? And it's bizarre. And then you realise it hits you. And it hit me the day that I announced that I'd be calling my last season, that people care. Yeah. People care really, really deeply. And that's why you see it as a total privilege to be in that position where you are somebody who is just trying to do your best. And look, I'm not saving lives. There are far more people, far more worthy of praise than I. But to see and hear from people about how much they appreciated what I did in my own small way,
are you kidding me?
was unbelievable. So I mean, that's why I want to say thank you to everybody. I want to use this opportunity to say thank you for the people who came out and were so lovely in saying what they said to me, and my family as well. It meant a huge amount.
So thank you.
Yeah,
I mean, let's be honest. Thank you. I mean,
let's do a little round of applause here.
Yeah.
Let's go. Yeah.
So let's do this
That
because
was deep, man. I loved it. Seriously, that was.
Let's talk about the end, and then go back and talk about your time here.
Yes.
So your tweet that you tweeted out, I don't know, 5 minutes after the end of the Dallas game, your ending tweet was the epic, beautiful, perfect. I don't know how long it took you to write that. Maybe 2 seconds or 6 weeks. I don't know, but that was the absolute. I mean,
Dude,
it really summed up what all of us felt about you. And I know Nancy over here, I'm going to call her out because she's been one of the most vocal
Very much so.
anti-get rid of Ross folks on Twitter. Your tweet just, it was like, oh, damn it, why, right? So just thank you. Thank you for everything you have done and being, like you said, you're not saving lives, you're not doing everything else, but you became that person that we listen to. And there are people who love you, and there are people that love your style, and there are people that don't like your style, and everywhere in between.
That's life, yeah.
And it's life, exactly, and that's okay. That's the way life should be.
But we know who the good people are.
Yeah, we know who the good people are. Yeah, they're all watching tonight. But
the others can't sit with us.
Thank you for everything you did, and I don't want to dwell on the fact that what's happened. I do want to say that Julie is watching tonight, and she said here in the chat room a few minutes ago, she said, Nagel left and came back. Freeberg left and came back.
I've got no idea where you're going with this.
Things happened in threes. And I'm going to leave it there. That Ross, you're always welcome back in our family.
Always.
You are the epitome of once a sounder, always a sounder.
Yes.
And whatever us little guys drinking and girls
Beers.
and ladies and drinking in a pub can offer for you, just thank you for everything you've done for us.
Totally, man. I mean, that's why earlier I was like, dude, this is really happening. I'm pinching myself. Like, the voice, the guy who over the last few years, I connect with all these moments of pure joy, a couple of not so memorable ones, but
like
a lot of great moments where you're like, yes, hugging each other, high-fiving your brothers, you're with your dad, you're taking your parents to games, your daughters, your nieces. You are the Sounders. You have been.
Yeah, you have been.
You know, so it's why it's, I think, when you mentioned the outpouring and how humbling it felt, and not even close to the same scale, when I did one of my first S2 matches, I went back to my car after the game and I started crying, man. I was like, this is crazy. So I totally understand about you getting the sentimental love, because you realize how much people care.
Yeah, it's a passion.
We
don't do this. We're not doing this tonight because we feel like we have a duty to do it. We're very lucky. We're incredibly fortunate to be able to do this, and people want to listen to us, to see us and to hear us. And I'll always think that. I always think I'm not doing a job. I'm doing my hobby. And that always helps me keep it in perspective, that it's, like I say, there are people doing far more important things, but it's a passion, and I'm incredibly privileged and lucky to have been able here in Seattle to carry on that passion, and I'll carry it on elsewhere. But this will always be a big block, a big chunk of my life that will contain a huge amount of fantastic memories, and a lot of that is down to the people I've met, the relationships I've built, and the club itself, and how it's kind of worked in partnership with what I wanted to achieve as well.
Yeah. All right, so I want to do an Aaron moment, which everyone's going to cringe for a moment, but I'm going to do one Aaron moment. I want to go back and I want to look at your time at Sounders.
Yes.
And then I want to fast forward to what's next for Ross. And then we'll go to questions.
And questions, because we got a lot of questions. A lot.
I became a soccer fan of all things when Drew Carey raised the 12th man flag at the Seahawks game. My wife was a big soccer fan. I was a big American football fan. I didn't care about soccer, just whatever. But I knew she would go to games, and so I became a soccer fan because it meant we could go as a family to games. She hates American football, etc. I mean, hates is a strong word, but whatever. And by the way, happy birthday, honey.
Hey, on that note, got you some caramels for your birthday.
The best ones ever.
Yes.
From Yakima.
Shout out to Yakima.
Our Yakima crew's watching tonight.
Yeah, they're watching.
My whole life, I've always identified with, and I told you before the show, people hearing the voice in somebody else. I think the Sounders, and I don't know any of the details behind the scenes, and I'm not going to ask you to, and you can do this if you want, but the Sounders, hands down, they messed up. They had, and I don't know. You may have chose to leave, and that's fine. And if you chose to leave, then good for you. I don't care about the situation, but not retaining Ross at this point, you became that voice, and I'm personally devastated. I don't like it. Adrian told us to believe in them. They have a plan, etc.
It's tough.
I will give my trust and my faith there because I'm not just a one-time bandwagon get off the thing. But I'm frustrated, etc. And I know I'm not speaking just for me. I'm speaking for some other folks. One of them right here, obviously. It's sad, but thank you for everything you've done. And all right, let's go back to the beginning.
Thank you. No, it means a lot.
I know.
Thanks a lot.
I've tried to. I knew I was going to do it, and I just. I was joking before the show that I was going to ask you a real, question you couldn't answer, and I'm not going to do it. But it's.
Can I plead the fifth? I mean,
Yes. Yes.
I've learned that about American culture. Right? You can
Welcome
plead
to America.
the
Yes.
fifth. We don't
always plead the fifth.
We don't have that in the UK.
Who was the first person you interviewed when you came over here? Who was the first player you interviewed?
Patrick Iani, and this was fantastic.
Wow.
And I want a show of hands probably as
The
we go
hair.
around here. Who's heard of the phrase, been there, done that, and got the T-shirt? Right? Most people here.
Yeah.
Poor old Pat. So, this... This is my first interview with a player, and it's like a week in, and we're playing Houston maybe, and it's, okay, you're going to interview Patrick Iani for radio. Fine. So after training, toddle off back from the field to inside where the locker area is, and there's Patrick Iani. Lovely guy, really super guy. And we're talking, okay, Pat, just like 3 minutes for a radio interview I want to do. Okay, yeah, no worries. So, Pat, we're playing Houston this weekend. What do you think? And we go on for 2.5 minutes. And then I go specific because I've done a bit of research, obviously. And Brian Ching was playing, I think, his last season for Houston, if not his penultimate season.
Former local guy.
And he's a bit of a legend. And I said to Pat, well, thing is for you this weekend as a central defender, you're going to be coming up against Brian Ching, a formidable forward. He is an experienced guy. He's won so much. I mean, you could say, couldn't you, that he's been there, done that, and got the T-shirt. And I moved the mic over. So if I could just borrow your mic, here you go. This is Pat's mic. Been there, done that, got the T-shirt. And Pat goes, yeah, well, the thing is, Brian Ching, he's got. I'm sorry. I was like, what? Are you okay? He says, yeah, I'm just a little bit confused. I'm thinking, what have I done to Patrick Iani? And I looked at him and said, is everything all right? I'm thinking, I'm only a week into this job and I've already messed up. And I don't know what I've done to insult him. And I said, is everything okay? And he goes, well, yeah, but I just don't understand. Been there, done that. I mean, which T-shirt?
Oh my God, that was so funny, man. That was so much money. Oh my God.
I was relieved after that.
That was great. All right.
It wasn't me. It was definitely Pat and his T-shirt.
Going on that question. All right. You've interviewed tons of athletes, Olympians probably from the Winter Olympics, pros. Who was your most memorable interview and who was your least memorable interview?
Most memorable, Usain Bolt, for sure.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah,
That's cool.
London 2012. It was my home Olympic Games, and it was my second Summer Olympics. So I'd been to Beijing in 2008 with the BBC, working on their television broadcasting as what's called a mixed zone reporter. So bouncing from event to event, standing in the interview pen at the finish line, interviewing British athletes. If they'd won, whatever, if they'd come sixth, whatever. And that was an incredible thrill. Being in Beijing, in amongst the smog, incredible food. They do great Chinese there, by the way. And come on, I thought it was funny. And that was great, and that got me going on the Olympics. As I say, I'm now on to my fifth Olympics in Rio, summer and winter.
That's so cool.
But London 2012 was magnificent. I mean, I just started this job with the Sounders. They were gracious enough to give me that for like 4.5 weeks off in the middle of the season to go and do the Olympic Games. And my job was to be the track and field reporter for the world feed. So basically is to stand virtually on the finish line in a stadium packed with 90,000 British fans every night, every session, and my job was to interview every medalist from every event.
Oh my God! Talk about intimidation.
And this was just wow. So what happened was the finish line comes round here, and then the athlete, if they've won or got silver or bronze, they go do their lap of honor, and then they'd be brought into this interview funnel where the world's press awaited them. And literally, it was a funnel where people would have to snake. The athlete couldn't get away from it. They had to go up these different little alleyways where all the world's press were waiting to interview them. And there's probably 60 different TV and radio people there. And again, it comes back to privilege. I was in this incredibly privileged position of being number 3. So you had the home broadcaster, the BBC, who goes first as they're brought off the track by the finish line. Number 2 was NBC because they pay the most money, so they get the right to have second bite. Then there's me doing it for the rest of the world. Now, of course, there's Swedish and French and German TV and everyone else like that. But for a lot of the countries that can't send their reporters, I'm doing the interview for them. And so within 2 minutes of Usain Bolt coming off having won the 100 metres, the 200 metres, the 4x100 metre relay, there's his sweaty 6'5" long limb body standing in front of me waiting to be asked questions. And you've got 60 seconds, so you've got to make it count. So it's absolutely not about you, it's all about them. And
does
with
he like tacos? That's what I would have asked. I'm just saying.
So you got 60 seconds. So obviously I asked him first. No, it's my second question. Do you like tacos? After how do you feel about winning? And at that moment, I mean, I generally don't get starstruck. But there's a little tingle going on there as you're about to interview the world's fastest man who's just won back-to-back Olympic Games medals in the 100 and 200 meters for the first time in history.
This is the fastest human being in the history of humankind.
And yeah, this is the greatest show on earth, and I'm there, and I'm the guy going, well, how do you feel? And you've got to think about what you're going to say and all that kind of stuff, and you know there's big pressure on you to get a good interview because you only get one shot and you only get 60 seconds. And Bolt just... okay, he's hyped up, and it just fell beautifully for me. And the first question was obvious. How does it feel to be the first? It's just after the 200-meter final. How does it feel to be the first man to retain the 100 and 200-meter Olympic titles? And you're hoping that he says good stuff, and he just comes out and goes, well, you know what? It makes me a legend. I am a legend. Yes. And as a journalist, there's like light bulbs going on, bing, 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 in your mind, because you're thinking, my boss is going to be loving this! Loving this! Yes. And apparently my boss was watching back in the office, and there's probably about 30 other journalists sitting there waiting for the interview to come in, and he's not a very expressive guy, but I was told, as he heard this quote, this dynamite quote, he leapt up and just went, yes! Yes! My boy has brought the bacon home. And it was just an utter thrill. And from there, he's like, I am a legend. I am an absolute legend. I put myself in the ranks of Herb McKennedy, Michael Johnson, all these people. And it was just a fantastic interview from a guy that clearly had zero ego. I mean, there was no ego there at all.
Super humble there.
And I came away just feeling about as tall as Usain Bolt. It was an incredible moment. And you know, as a professional, you're just doing your job, but at the same time, as a fan of the greatest athlete you've ever seen, you just have to take a step back that night and go, wow. I had the honor of being there, being able to ask him these questions, and that's something I'll always take away. So, to answer your question in a really short way, that was my favorite interview.
Wow.
So, is it fair to say that your least memorable experience is one you don't remember?
SonarFeed
and I'm
does not
stealing
count.
that from Kyle. Thank you, Kyle, for that one. I'm stealing that line from you.
Oh, I mean, in journalism, there are many interviews.
But is there a moment that sticks out as your oh my god moment that you would talk about?
Yeah, like
as in terrible moment.
Terrible. Oh
well,
my
there
god,
was
terrible.
one when I was a young pup.
It was SonarFeed. Is that what you're saying? No.
I was 19, and again, it was a BBC Radio Derby, the first station I was at, and they let me host a show, a 2-hour Saturday show, when I was 19. And again, bit of an upstart, bit of a prodigy, whatever you want to call it. And it was a very soft kind of show. You talk a bit of soccer. You take some phone calls from the local audience in these kind of... here's a noise. Ding, 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 ding. What noise am I making? And it's like people have to phone in and go, is it a bell? You go, no, it's not. And obviously it is. And this lovely old lady called Winifred, who was from Alveston. Winifred from Alveston came on the phone. And of course, I'm 19. I've done like 3 shows. I'm just trying to muddle through as best I can on the BBC and like, oh my gosh, what am I doing here? And you have to make small talk with the phone callers that phone in, trying to answer the competition question to win the prize. And Winifred from Alveston phones in. And you go, oh, hi, Winifred, how are you? Yeah, I'm not so bad, love, not so bad. Like, oh, what are you up to today, Winifred? Oh, I'm sorry. I said, what are you up to today? And I hear this beep, thinking, what's going on here? And I'm this green young pup reporter stroke presenter. I said, Winifred, are you all right? Are you playing some music in the background or something? There's a really annoying squeak going on. She said, so annoying squeak? I said, yeah, I mean, can you try and turn it off, whatever it is? And she said, oh, no, love. I'm deaf, that's my hearing aid. And I'm like, I don't think I was the most tactful in that circumstance. And I didn't really know what to do. And obviously I'm blushing. I was so grateful it was radio. I was like, okay, what's your answer? No, you're wrong. Goodbye. That's all I could think to do. So, yeah, there have been moments like that. There have been moments.
Okay, so 2 things. One, we're at the hour point. You're okay still, right? Time-wise?
I got up at 5 this morning with my daughter, but beer is powering me through. Oh, no, go for as long as you want.
Okay. So
that means that if I stay later, my wife has to do the get-up tomorrow morning, so that's great.
Okay.
Midnight, all right?
We'll be here to midnight. That's great. No problem. Yep. Would you like a smaller beer?
Una más
I'm
cerveza.
good, thank you. Yeah, I'm good, yeah.
We can do a third, half that, so if you want. And then also... you've been dared on Thursday night at the Market Arms, which 7 o'clock Thursday night, Market Arms. Ross has, again, a legendary moment in your career here in Seattle, has bought 3 kegs, I believe.
I can't remember how many it is now.
2.
Yeah.
Or 7. Maybe it's 7.
I kind of...
Until the beer runs out.
Yeah. Thanks for that. Yeah, okay. Unlimited beer on Ross.
Yeah, no. 2 kegs. Sorry, 2 kegs. I was corrected. At the Market Arms, you're going to have a going-away party, as it were. And Anonymous 20551, which I'm not sure who that is, said they dare you to get on the mic and say, I am a legend on the mic. So, and you are a legend. So, double dog dare you. So.
Definitely bringing the bacon home right now, I'll tell you that. This is a legendary SonarFeed episode, no question.
So earlier today, Lick It asked, are you wearing his T-shirt? Which obviously you are not.
No, not today, but it's an awesome
and why
T-shirt,
not?
Lick It. I wore it yesterday, actually, so there you are.
That's a good reason why. Okay, good. I like that.
There was a basketball question, I
from
believe. Kelly, yep.
How is the basketball game this past weekend?
Oh, my.
With the folks.
Yeah,
oh, no.
How'd it go?
I think my hamstrings are still recovering. So
were you playing on the pitch at the Clink?
No. I through a buddy. He said, "Oh, do you want to come and play basketball?" This is random. When you announce you're leaving, all of a sudden you get a lot more invites to go to parties, which is lovely, and I really like it. And one of the invites was to go and play pickup basketball on a Saturday morning. And again, loving the sport, but not having played in probably 15 years. I thought, if not now, when? If we're leaving Seattle, if we don't, either way, I can go out and nobody will care because I'll be able to run a million miles if I play terribly this Saturday morning. And so I turned up and played pickup basketball.
Nice.
Where at? Near Greenwood.
Okay.
So, yeah. It was a court, anyway, with a couple of hoops.
Nice.
I don't think I ever saw the hoop, the one I was attacking, but... It was an experience for me because if you go and play pickup in the UK, you don't play pickup. You have to organise a game because so few people play basketball recreationally, and they're all rubbish because we're English and we only play soccer. And so I thought, I don't quite know what the standard will be. And my buddy said, "Oh, it's fine. It's Saturday morning pickup. It'll be okay."
Oh man!
And then I get there, and there's this 6'5" guy going coast to coast, doing an under the board layup, and you're like gliding in, almost like Michael Jordan. Woo! Up he goes.
You're like, just kidding. It was nice, guys.
Powering down the court, and there's this skinny British wretch turning up, totally unfit, going, "Oh, hi, yeah, okay, I'll play." So remind me, you bounce the ball again, and then
you can't use your feet.
But I loved it. Yeah, I loved it. No, it was really good fun.
Man.
So it was good to get back. And if I've not had a kind of a return invite yet, maybe that's telling. But I'll probably play a few more games before I'm done this year.
So if we got a show that was Ross, Alan Hinton, and the Gas Man.
I wouldn't get a word in edgeways. Yeah.
Okay. We've had all three of you on the show, and trust me, I know.
No, trust me.
Yeah. And then question from Japanese Import 88. Can Ross do a keg stand for us on Thursday?
I'm going to sound really stupid. What's a keg stand?
Oh, yes! It's the
All right,
greatest.
hold on, wait. Before you say this, will you come on a road trip with us next year? To Portland or Vancouver?
Oh, I thought you were going to say we're going to drive to Chicago or something like that.
You
Orlando?
wanted to do Orlando.
Orlando, wow.
No.
Or Salt Lake?
No.
So you don't know what a keg stand is?
No.
If you tell me, I'll probably know because
Do
I've
you wanna
heard the
explain what a
phrase,
keg
but I
stand
don't
It's
know.
one of the
Go on.
greatest American endeavors ever. Yes, it is. So you have one of these wonderful kegs that you are so generously have helped to share with us on Thursday, and you tap it with a hose per se, and the same hose that you used to pour. But what you do is you get your hands around the rim of the keg. Someone will lift you up from your legs so that you're actually head first, upside down, and you drink it upside down.
Out of the while they're holding your legs
Yes.
up. So it's kind of like what you and Arlo used to do in the old days.
Pretty much.
Before wrestling, yes.
During.
Or during, during.
Wow.
So the answer is yes.
If you fought through Saturday's hoops, you got this. You got this.
This could be one heck of a messy party, couldn't it? I tell you, now I'm a
have an
father
Uber,
of a
right?
young child.
You have
Yeah, this is not going to end well because my tolerance to alcohol has gone right down ever since I had a child.
So what happened with tequila that one night? Someone said something about
Katie
tequila.
again. I'm not sure who she is
Yeah.
again. Said we can't. So we drink
Yes.
on the show. We drink Sparkle Donkey, which is
On that
tequila,
note,
and Galazo.
yes.
And she
Awesome.
told us not to feed you tequila because of Halloween.
Right, yeah. I don't actually remember Halloween.
Nice. You did it right. You did it right.
Yes, you did. That's awesome.
That's cool.
I love it. Okay. So before, you can't plead the fifth because you're English. Exactly.
There's always one smart ass, isn't there?
Yeah, that's Lisa for
We're
you.
used to that over here.
So before we go into questions, let's talk about. We really didn't talk about the Sounders too much, but that's fine. But what's next? Do you have a next? Are you guys staying here? Do you know? Because Katie works for the BBC still, right? Or-
yes and no.
Or I guess, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, my wife has a job here.
Yeah.
And we're kind of looking at options, just looking at
Okay.
all kinds of options.
Okay.
I don't know where we'll end up. I know for sure I'm going to Rio in the summer for the Olympics.
Right.
I'm going to Norway actually as well for the Youth Winter Olympics,
Wow.
which are great fun.
Yeah.
And I did in 2012 Innsbruck, Austria, the Youth Winter Olympics there, and I was the biathlon reporter.
That's intense. What is
Biathlon.
it?
Do you know what the
What is-
biathlon
no, I
is?
don't.
Okay.
This is, this is pretty
the way
much
you
what
look
I
at it,
said when
though.
they said you're the
Yeah.
biathlon reporter. I was
I
like,
can tell you
You
about a
didn't play
triathlon.
all the Olympic games on like
I
NES
played in
or
a
whatever.
triathlon yesterday in our tailgate, but I can assure you it's probably not the same.
But seriously, from not having much of a clue about biathlon before I went to Innsbruck, I came away having the most respect for those athletes.
Oh, yeah.
And these are 16 and 17-year-olds in the Youth Winter Olympics. Basically, it's cross-country skiing for miles and miles,
Yep.
up and uphill and down dale, as we say in England, stopping to pull out your gun and shoot some things on a rifle range.
Yep. Did you not watch? Have you never watched a James Bond movie ever?
So that's where all the spies come from. Got it.
And these guys and girls are the most incredible athletes because they are pounding away up and down these cross-country tracks, and then they have to stop every now and again to go and shoot. And after two sprints up and down the basketball court, I am done. These guys all of a sudden have to lie down, get their rifle off their back, lay it down, and try and control their breathing and shoot targets 50 meters away, and then get back up and sprint off again.
Wow.
And this
and
is
they're
going
not
on.
just cross country like this. It's up. It's way uphill and way.
And this is for about 2 hours.
Yeah.
And when they finish, every single athlete across that finish line sprawls on the floor
Yeah.
as soon as they hit the
Yeah.
finish line, and they are there for probably 2, 3, 4 minutes just trying to get their breath back as they're just lying there, having put every ounce of energy in, and they are enduro super athletes. So I'm hoping I'll be the biathlon reporter again, because it's, again, one of those sports that I didn't really know too much about,
Yep.
and in that spirit of adventure, I love learning about that. Going to a different country as well, learning their culture, I love all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
So we'll do a bit of that, and then whatever else comes our way.
That's cool, man.
So
Hopefully
we
stay here as long as possible.
Tony just said we should have the Berliner pull out a keg so we can teach you so that you're ready to go for Thursday night. But no, you guys are leaving soon. I know. I saw you pay. Is there any questions you guys want to ask? You're good. Okay. Because I know you're leaving. Because it's a school night, so we have to get them home early. So,
Well, thank you for coming. Thank you. Nice to see you.
so the future's open. You're accepting all and any offers.
Almost. Yeah.
Seattle Sounders, hello. You need a play-by-play guy.
Yeah.
I know a guy. All right. So shall we go into questions?
Let's do it.
Should we do our questions first?
I said we save the best for last.
Save the best for last. Okay.
So we're going to do your questions now, right? Too easy, guys. Too
Wow, and the show is
Learning
over.
from the legend.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. He's only referenced it like 14 times tonight. So let me do this real quick. Would Ross consider play-by-play calling my Saturday afternoon? I could crowdfund it if needed. Sorry, Anonymous 20551 asked that just now.
easy. If you've got Boddington's English Lager there, I'll do it for a Mike Gastineau 6-pack.
Ooh,
There you go.
we
There's
don't
a
have-
theme
we
running
don't
through
have
here.
Boddington's.
We do
Boddington's is good, though.
Yeah, you can get it in Seattle.
You
I
can.
drink
not,
it in
not
Seattle.
here, but a German pub. It's going to
Yeah,
be
but
rough.
it's they're asking about Saturday.
Oh, Saturday.
It's
Oh,
Tuesday,
sorry,
Monday
yes.
tonight. I don't even know what day of the week it is.
It's Monday.
I mean, when
We
you're
can figure
unemployed,
that
you just they all roll into one these days.
It is a Taco Tuesday. Blame it on Taco Tuesday.
All right, so before we go into questions, I want to do one more thing that I failed to do earlier, and he hinted at earlier. We've been doing this podcast. So let's talk about the podcast for a minute, and then we'll go back to the questions.
SonarFeed.
So SonarFeed started 3.5 years ago. You know about this because
You were there.
one of my favorite interviews. This is up there. Like, this became instant legend, instant classic, as they say on ESPN. Was the Gas Man. He came on our show, and I had listened to the Gas Man for 20 years as just a listener, and he was just, he loves everything. And so we had him on the show, and it was like, I sat there the whole day, like the whole thing like this, going, "Oh my God, he's talking to us."
Yeah,
he came
dude.
down
It
here.
was-
We bought him
it was
dinner
pretty
and a
cool.
drink,
Well,
but he like
He is a legend. Yeah.
When I was watching the Sonics make that run to the finals, and I worked 2 blocks from the Curie now, I used to serve Gary Payton burritos, for God's sake. Literally, I served the guy chicken fajita burritos.
Did he tip well?
No comment. I plead the fifth. I plead the fifth. I'm now a citizen, so I can plead the fifth. But he used to like that was. I used to listen to him on the radio all the time. They'd have these big events behind the restaurant that I worked at. The Rally in the Alley, for those of you around back in 95, 96. So for me, it was like, oh my God, my sports guy, my oh my God, yeah. So I was like, yeah, fanboy, like now, pretty much, yeah.
So, where I was going with that, I lost my train of thought. Damn it.
2012. San
started-
Jose.
Oh, yeah, thank you. God,
Yeah.
thank you. I'm reading a question here. That's a great question that we have to ask you in a minute here. But so I was driving on 99 after we came back from San Jose. So in San Jose, we had held up an iPhone and streamed the game.
This was magnificent.
So there's at the beginning of our show, when you watch the intro, there's a big red question mark, which is a Ustream. We found out later, which is what we use to stream the broadcast. Issue that there was the bug where if you unplug a mic or you do this or that, it goes to this red question mark. San Jose, not saying they're not smart down there, but they don't know how to figure out technology in the middle of Silicon Valley. Couldn't figure out how to get off of the red question mark and how to get things to work. And so the game, the U.S. Open Cup at KZR Stadium, which is one of the most awesomely terrible, cool stadium. There's a track. There's like a long jump right next to where the AR is running back and forth. And if she steps, because it was a woman, if she had stepped 1 foot off when she was running back and forth, she would have fallen into the long jump and fallen in a bunch of sand. And the game stopped. And I had streamed the pre-funk. I had streamed the march to the match. And when I heard the game wasn't going on, I'm like, well, shoot, I can do that. Which, let me tell you, holding your phone up for an hour and a half, that's the reason why one arm's stronger than the other, I'm telling you. So it was amazing to like hold that up. And then when I started looking at it, I was showing pictures of ECS singing, et cetera. And everyone's like, don't show us, show the game because nobody can see it. And so here we are. It's an iPhone 4. It was like this horrible video, terrible stream quality. And people, like, we had 500, 600, 700 people watching. Plus, there was bars that put it on. So when you look at that number,
I remember, yeah.
And it was like one of those moments. And then Nos Arietes, which Dave is over here, a sounder at heart, they invited me on the next morning. We talked about it. And then I came home and I was driving between to work, and you were on the Gasman show. And you mentioned my name / SonarFeed, and I'm like, oh my God, this is like awesome. I'm on the radio on the Gasman show, and then a couple years later, he's on the show, and now you are too.
Wow.
So we decided to do a podcast, and it was just 3 guys who decided to come down here to the Berliner pub because we knew the owners, and they said, yeah, go ahead, you can take over that corner over there. We set up mics, we started filming, and we did the fan perspective of soccer. 3.5 years later, 148 episodes later, we are finally launching a Patreon site, which is, if you guys know, Patron of the Arts, etc. It's all been self-funded to this point. We've spent. You see it, and everyone who joins us as a guest goes, it's not the most professional, but it's damn good what we've done.
Actually, that is darn professional what you've got here. That's fantastic. It's
so
looking at it
the
now.
cameras, the lights, etc.
Yeah.
So we're asking folks, and we'll post the pictures here, or the link here momentarily. If they want to, they can go on, and they can donate. You can donate $1, whatever you want to do. As is the, oh my God, Kyle, Gravano. The first episode we ever broadcast was using, for a camera, was the PlayStation Eye camera. I totally forgot about that, Kyle. Oh, my God. So we had a terrible laptop that if you touched it wrong, it would shut off. We had the PlayStation Eye. We had these microphones that were, like, awesomely dynamically. They'd captured everything. You couldn't hear us. You could only hear the bar. So we've been working on this for about 6 months or so, and we finally decided to go ahead and do it. We're going to do this launch. If people want to donate, great. As is the history of SonarFeed. We are all about the community, all about the family, and any extra money beyond upgrading our content to give you guys better episodes is going to go into our annual charity event that we do. So we're not taking, this is not a way for us to make money. We're not pocketing any of this money. This is all going to go into the show, first of all, and then anything else goes into the charities. So over the last 3 years, you may or may not know, and I hope you're available in January, the date to be announced soon if you're still here. We're doing the 4th annual FIFA tournament. And we've raised $13,000 for the Lamar Nagel Foundation over 3 years.
Yes. That's awesome. That is a huge round of applause.
Our goal is to double that or more this year. We want to hit somewhere between $13,000 and $20,000. The date is to be decided. It's going to be one of the last 2 weekends of January. We're waiting on the confirmation of availability. The Seahawks aren't going to be in the playoffs, so we really can pick any day.
Hashtag too soon, bro.
Hashtag
Too
runner
soon.
pass. I know.
No.
No, actually,
Too
the
soon.
Seahawks are still going to go to the playoffs, and they're going to make a run, and they're going to actually, saying it right now, they're going to actually make it all the way to the Super Bowl.
Let's go. That's what I'm talking about.
As soon as they fire Bevel, but
No,
you're
no
not.
comment,
You're not.
but
yeah.
yeah.
Okay. But anyways, the end of January, the last 1 or 2 weekends of January, we're going to do this tournament again. So anyways, we're going to put all this out there, and if you want to, great. If not, it's no big deal. But
the link should be out on our Twitter account.
There you go.
Check it out. You basically are going to get some cool perks for your donations. Some Sonar hugs from our boys. We're going to have stickers. We're going to have shirts. We're going to take you on a road trip if you want with us. A road trip with the boys to watch the Sounders.
Nice.
Who would not want to do that? I mean, there's all kinds of cool things going on.
So we have a lot of, thanks to this lady over here, Heather, has been collecting the most amazing raffle items ever. She's had everything in the world signed and gotten everything in the world. So it's going to be a big event, and that's but again, everything we're doing here is, for some reason, people like watching what we're doing, and people come out like you.
Well, look,
and it's so weird. So thank you for letting me do my little spiel here.
But you guys genuinely are one of the many reasons why I love this community and I love this city and the Sounders community that goes with it, because it's people like you that get out there, do this for the love of it, but also knowing that other people will take something from it.
Yes,
people
that's
watch,
exactly
they
it,
listen,
man.
they engage. You build a community. That's how you grow any organization. It has to grow from the grassroots.
Exactly,
And you
man.
guys are right there, doing it like this, having fun at the same time.
Oh, man.
Hats off to you.
Are you kidding me?
Hats off to you. This is awesome.
Thank
No,
you, man.
absolutely fantastic.
Thank
So,
you.
yeah, let's hope we're around in January and we'll come and kick some FIFA ass.
There you go. Thank
Let's
you. All right,
go!
good. All right.
You heard that here, man.
Okay. All right.
So hyped right now. I'm so
I know,
hyped.
me
This
too.
is awesome.
I know. So we had a little bit. It's like an hour and 20 minutes in, but we're gonna keep going for a little
Longest
while.
show
we have so
ever.
many questions.
Hashtag.
This might beat Roger Levesque's as the longest
Yeah.
show ever. All right, so let me go down the list here. Kyle Gervin, who was one of the first guys who brought us in some of the amazing guests we've had over the years. Did I give you Kyle? He brought us in guests. Did I give you a super awkward hug? And I have not done that yet. I kind of gave you a super awkward handshake.
Yeah, but that's
I
just English. We're super awkward, so it's fine. It doesn't
Afterwards,
matter.
I got to give you a super awkward
To me,
hug.
that's normal.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Super awesome question here from Blue Eye Buddhist Paul Cox, a.k.a. Paul Cox. Ask Ross, of the team, staff / players, how many of the team / staff or players listen to fan podcasts like No Sadietas or SonarFeed?
Well, I hope a lot. Because you need to be in touch with your community. I don't know a genuine answer, but I imagine quite a few do. A lot of them are connected already, as you know,
Yes.
on social media.
Coach Schmetzer, thank you.
And it's
Love it
yeah,
when you
it's
watch.
very important
He
that
has watched. It's awesome.
all elements of an organization are listening to their fans. So I hope a lot are.
Yeah. Well, it's fun because No Sadietas is what I would, and I told you this off the air before the show. No Sadietas is what I would consider the X, or you said the X's and O's. They are the ones. They're in the business, etc. We're more of the fireside chat, you know, kind of having a beer and relaxing and enjoying community events live. We're all about live. Because we held the phone up, we decided to go all live. If we weren't going to do video, we weren't going to do it at all. Which, let me tell you, trying to figure out how to stream and get all the equipment and get all that stuff, it's more challenging than you think.
147 practice and learning lesson.
Plus the 20 or so that we didn't record accidentally. Oops, I forgot to hit the button.
I can barely press the on button on my mic. My final radio show that I did on Cairo the other day, I still forgot to turn the on button on my final show.
Oh, no.
I was like, seriously, dude, you've only been doing this thing 19 years. I still can't work it out. So to get this working, it's a feat of magnificence, gentlemen.
A question was asked earlier is the full 90 podcast going to continue?
TBC, I guess.
Nice.
It depends on circumstances. But what I can say is Gregor is a terrific guy.
God.
He's an absolutely
Dude,
fabulous
he's the
guy.
man.
And
he's
again,
the man.
We had Gregor and Manley on as a pair because they stole our opportunity. They took our jobs. As South Park once said, they took our jobs.
He was all in to have a surprise visit from the fathead. It was going to make an appearance, but due to unforeseen circumstances of a lot of tailgating, we could not make it happen.
Is that why he's not here?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Love you, Greg.
Gregor.
He was like on board, like, yeah, let's make it happen. No, not at all. Just 12 hours takes a toll, and then I had to work all day. I was hoping I could get away yesterday, but I couldn't. Man, there's already people here. McKay, Yowsley here, asking, man, hopefully if you're around for the FIFA tournament, like you mentioned earlier, love to have you do some with us, and James, who will be here. Some awesome commentating.
If you're around.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty cool to have actually our boy Jeremy here, Crassy, play against Lamar Nagel on that bench right there.
Yeah, that was
And
pretty
they're
cool.
playing.
As Lamar, though. That was
Yeah.
Lamar playing as Lamar was one of the best things ever.
Yes.
who won, by the way?
Lamar.
Lamar won.
Lamar
And
won.
Jeremy's like one of the best in the community.
Jeremy, you let him win, right? Yeah. Jeremy said he let him win.
It's the weird, yeah.
Lamar scored with Lamar.
Well, Lamar didn't win the whole thing. It was Justin won again, but he beat Jeremy. Yeah,
Feet
that
going
was
crazy.
that was awesome. Yeah, that was good. Okay. So to be decided.
Yes, I guess. To be decided.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. But Gregor and Manley were great.
They're brilliant. No, they're really good.
And
They're really good.
I thought, again, Hugo and I tried out for the S2, as you know.
Yeah.
That's okay.
I'm glad you took it so well, to be honest.
I did all right.
5 or 6 years or 20 or 30 years, I'll be over it. No, but they did a great job. I liked their unique style, and I'm really glad S2 brought them in because it gave a different perspective for it, and they're great at what they do.
And again, both those guys, they are just genuinely good
guys.
dudes.
Yes.
And in our industry, there are some people who aren't good dudes, and you never quite know what you're going to get.
Right.
But they're people who've gone out deliberately to
Totally,
try
man.
and build things, and the Sounders is one of them, off their own back, because they care. They passionately care about what they do, and they want to see the sport grow as well. And
Totally, man.
those guys are gold dust. They're diamonds in the rough.
And I don't know if it's just because of the community or the Sounders community. I might be biased, but everywhere where we've had interaction with local, what we consider, media, but community media, like the Gas Man, Gregor, D. Ted Smith, they've all been super cool about coming down here to hang out with us and chop it up and talk Sounders and talk beers and tacos, and every single one of them has been like good people, like the kind of people, like your mom says, hang out with those people. Those are the people you want to hang around with, man.
It's a great life lesson. Yeah,
totally been cool. A lot of great feedback, man. Tara Kirkland, this is great. Feel like I'm sitting around a fire listening to bedtime stories from Uncle Ross. Thanks, SonarFeed. Love it, man. This is so cool.
this is great. It's
Favorite?
again,
Yeah, well, it's
telling stories.
That's
What it's
great.
all about.
pro Marmite, anti Marmite.
Ooh, intense.
Lover or hater? This is from
Anti.
anti. Yes,
And you know one of the reasons why?
because it's
It
gross.
was so
Because
nasty.
because I used to live about 4 flipping miles from the factory.
Oh,
In the UK.
smells like
oh my
it.
god!
And
yeah.
on a windy day, for anyone who doesn't know Marmite, yeast extract paste that you put on your toast. If you don't like it, you absolutely hate it. And even Marmite themselves, the company, did television commercials based on Marmite. You either love it or you hate it.
Yep.
Even they knew
Yeah.
it was horrific to a large proportion of the population, including those, who had to live near the factory when the wind blew on a windy day. That smell towards you, even if you're staying indoors, it permeates somehow through the glass, through the windows, through the doors, through the bricks of these solid British houses.
Amazing. A lot of memories coming out. One from Kyle, our boy Kyle in Yakima. The greatest call ever.
No goalkeeper in the universe will stop it. Ross Fletcher.
Jimmy Traore,
That was
Tigres,
oh my god,
the home leg of
CCL.
the CONCACAF Champions League in 2013.
Yes.
Yeah.
When he just belted a ball from
Belted!
300 yards out.
God, that
and
was
I think
gorgeous.
the crossbar in front of the ECS is still reverberating a little bit from that shot.
Oh my god, that reminds me. ECS, Liz, British Miss.
Oh.
Liz, she said, make sure you remind Ross that you promised you'd hang out with us at the ECS end of the year party.
I'm there. It's on the diary. Yeah.
Boom! It's on the diary.
Yeah.
It's on the counter. He's gonna be there. We get to do this all over again. Don't miss it.
So, Nancy, one of your biggest fans over here, has 2 questions. For all that Derby County has done for you, how in the world are you a Forest fan?
Wow.
Followed up by,
Hey,
have you talked to
keep it
Arlo
real.
lately? Yeah, I'm just
Hoopy
curious.
is keeping it 100, as they say.
Spoke to Arlo a few weeks back, actually. Yeah. Yeah, he's doing well. He's doing well. A few weeks ago. Yeah, he's a good guy. He's doing well.
Good. No,
He's too busy posting
is-
photos of his wife and how hot my wife is on her 40th birthday.
That was awesome.
He's too busy styling his Instagram account to talk to me. Yeah.
Now that you're leaving, do you plan on still kind of looking at the core of the team, et cetera? Have the Sounders become kind of one of those pocket teams that you're always going to follow? And if so, do you look at some of the rumors about what's happening here in the offseason? And Nico, who is one of the big Latino fans / media guys, he really has the community outreach for that, for the group of to broadcast all of the Sounders. He asked, what about the Aussie trade, or what about other off-season moves? Do you think about that, or are you kind of like still in your?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you're still very much a part of it, and I read everything every day as I always have. You don't just put it down.
Yeah.
You know, as I say, it's being so invested in this city and invested in this team. It's not like it's a tap that you turn on and then suddenly off again, and you're like, oh, no longer interested in the Sounders. Of course, you know, emotionally invested in wanting this team to do well. I genuinely wanted it to get to MLS Cup final and to be there to do the winning goal call on the radio. But to answer the question, yeah, and I think that there has to be changes this off-season. How many? I don't know. I don't know the contract status of all the players, and half the job, half the battle quite often is getting other teams to take those players you want to move out. It's not as easy as saying, off you go.
We want this one, we want that. But
the way MLS works, you've got to find somebody who wants that player, and you've got to figure out a trade, or somewhere in Europe will you be able to sell them. So I don't think anybody can put a finger on, even Garth Largo can put a finger on it and say, in this off-season there are going to be X number of players in and Y number of players out. But undoubtedly there will be changes, and you only have to look at the back line and know that Leo Gonzalez will be 35, Tyron Mears 32, Brad Evans, Chad Marshall around the 30 age, Zach Scott 35, and so on and so forth. That's not sustainable for any
and we
soccer
saw it
team
in the
any
last
league.
series. We played against a team that averaged 25 years in age, so we kind of saw it.
And wore the Sounders down. They wore them down.
Pretty fun.
We were dead.
Whatever the tactics were of the Sounders, and in the end it was level on aggregate, but the longer the game went, there was only one winner, and it was FC Dallas, because they just kept pounding away, and they had far more in the tank.
Jinx.
So Adam Wiggle would like to know. He's of Bootstrappers who does the S2, who, by the way, next Monday night will be joining us here on SonarFeed.
Nice.
Talk about all that.
Let's go.
Would like to know, and I want to be clear on this one, he asked you to join it before he asked me, as well as he asked you, so that's fine. Hold on 1 minute. Would you be interested in telling your story as a fan for Prosperity? And he's doing a supporter stories group. Would you be interested in kind of telling it from a fan slash?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I figured you would, but I had to ask it, and you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Someone earlier nearby asked, "What was your favorite call ever?"
Favorite call ever?
My call or somebody else's
Your call.
Your call.
Oh. I don't know. I'm one of those people that looks back on my own calls and thinks, could have done that a little bit better.
Do I know that feeling?
But maybe Freddie Montero's goal against LA, May 2012 at home, when he smashed a 35-yard ball.
Oh, my God.
And just from a piece of boring technical television analysis, I think I got that one about right. Because TV commentary, and I think this is a reason the Sounders brought Arlo and then myself over, and no disrespect to American play-by-play guys, but English guys have been doing it a lot longer at a higher level, and that's why they brought Arlo over and then I think myself, because we kind of understand the technicalities of doing a play-by-play. And if you ever listen to my radio-only commentaries, you'll know there's a big difference in how I conduct a radio play-by-play to a TV play-by-play.
Which is something that people don't understand, because one of the critiques I heard negatively about you
is
was that when you have the simulcast, it was really hard because you didn't paint the picture like they wanted you to. And all I could say was, he's doing a TV/radio broadcast. He's not doing his radio only. Listen to his radio only, and you would understand the reality of how good he is. And I'm not doing that to stroke your ego. This is my honest truth. You did it well. And when you're doing a radio/TV, they don't want to hear you when you're watching TV.
Yeah.
You have to understand when it's good to be quiet and when it's good to let it play.
Yeah, and I got that, and it was a difficult balance to try and hit, but I knew I was on TV, and the numbers, for what they were, dictated that television was the greater slice of the audience, and so you do a television broadcast because it's the TV primarily, you're driving there. The radio has a great listenership. And actually, as a radio kid, and most broadcasters in the UK, like myself, start in radio and then move on to TV, I've always got a little piece of my heart devoted to radio. And maybe, actually, some ways I prefer doing radio. Yeah. But to go back to the call...
Your comfort zone.
Well, not necessarily that, but painting the picture again. You have so much more creative freedom on radio because you are painting that picture. Whereas on television, to come back to the call for Freddie Montero, you've got to let the pictures tell the story.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
The mark of a great TV broadcaster on play-by-play is letting the pictures tell the story, and when you talk, you've got to embellish what you can already see.
Noted.
There's no point, if you're a television broadcaster, and this is one of the issues I have with some American play-by-plays, is that on television, they're describing what's going on.
Is this kind of like a PowerPoint presentation where they read every single word on the PowerPoint?
I'm loving it. This is great.
I should have brought my PowerPoint. But the point of television is the pictures are telling you what's going on, so I don't want somebody telling me what's happening because I can already see it. What I want that television person to do is to add value to what I can already see.
It's in here now.
So that's the role there. And that's why I think my Montero call in 2012 was probably good, because I think it was something like Freddie Montero, plenty of options ahead of him, one of which, as the ball hits, ripples the back of that, is the absolutely fantastic strike. And I really enjoyed that because I called it ahead. Plenty of options ahead of him. And that, as a TV viewer, makes you look where, looking for the options. Zoom! Off goes that ball caroming into the net. And then you just go from there. You unleash verbal fury on what was a fantastic goal.
Verbal fury! Yes! I love this, man. This, for me, this is like gold. This is so awesome. I love this.
He's going to watch this back over and over and over again.
You think you know, but you have no idea.
My friend, $250 an hour, I am your coach for life.
You know what? Let's talk about
crowdfund
discount.
We'll crowd.
No, on Patreon,
GoFundMe.
You might see a soon-to-be-released Patreon regarding this.
To be honest, I'll do it for $2.50 an hour.
Let's go!
So there's a ECS travel monkey here, you know, the one who does all of the travel and does all the things. And one of the things I love about ECS is they're not afraid to call it like it is sometimes. And sometimes when an opposing player does something stupid, and hearing this story you just explained about your mentality there, you effed up. I'm not saying the actual word, but you effed up. You know how they do the you effed up? Sounders. Beautiful story. I love it. Sorry, that was my little. That was great. Because that's what we want. We want to see that the passion of how you come from 0 to 100. I'm calling the radio so you can actually hear the game. And
I listened to the first time last week. I was driving somewhere and I listened to. I don't know if you've ever heard. It's more of a baseball thing, but you might have. I mean, you did get a cap as your first ever. You know?
Yeah, true.
Our legendary.
They play with helmets on, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
First down.
So Dave Newhouse, who I'm sure you've heard of here, is well revered. He read a poem, and this poem is a baseball poem. It's called "Casey at the Bat," and it's basically describing, and it's a poem that was written in the late 1800s. I think it's San Francisco Chronicle or San Francisco paper, and he just described the whole scene, kind of the way you described the Montero goal, as he's reading a poem. But I literally just imagined and saw this whole scene of a ballpark in the middle of the 1800s, and Casey out there, confident, not swinging at the first bat. So, what you just described about, not embellishing, not doing the play-by-play, but just embellishing on it and being descriptive about it, and it just hit home, and it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
and you do that, man. You have that skill that we all are like, wow. That's why it's sad to see you.
And again, I always feel fortunate. Like I say, I got a break at 16, and I was given the most magnificent training by the BBC, the world's most respected broadcaster, and to be able to go to those camps at 19 and the BBC pay to hone my skills, I was so lucky to be able to do that and then hopefully hone those talents. And what I did like this year particularly was with some of the S2 guys, so with the younger couple of guys, Peyton and Drew, and with Gregor and Manley, was to be able to give them coaching because I love the idea of helping the next generation get better. I did a lot of that in the UK and loved seeing people improve. And to see that, like Peyton and Drew particularly, I think Drew Wallen, who's done a bit of basketball play-by-play at CWU, is a real talent. Is a real talent.
I agree.
And I gave him a little bit of coaching this year, and he was already at a very good level for a 19-year-old.
No question.
Magnificent. And he listened, and I could tell, I could hear, he was listening to what I was saying. And to see those guys improve is terrific. And I always thought part of my role here in Seattle was to help the next generation. So in 10, 15, 20 years' time, there wouldn't be any need for an Arlo or a me to come across and do the broadcast, because you'd already now, by that point, have a wealth of talent in the US that's had that transfer of knowledge, some of the knowledge we can impart, that means that we don't need to come over anymore, and that you'll have a genuine list of stellar American soccer voices enriching the game that you all love with the American nuance thrown in. Of course, we understand the American nuance a bit, because we've lived here and we embrace the culture, but we're never going to get it quite the same way as a home broadcaster. Yeah. And I understand that, but I always thought, part of my role here was to help that next generation, and I really enjoy doing that. And to see guys like Peyton and Drew kick on through S2 was really fantastic for me this year.
That's awesome.
Well, some of us like the accent, some of us just like the actual knowledge that you're dropping. Oh, man. There's a few people, like everybody, who has said, would you like to do a underground radio show next year for all the broadcasts, where we mute the local and or national broadcasters?
Let's go.
We have been told, and I know...
Yeah. Let's do it.
We've been told that there are times people would rather watch us than listen to the locals. And we know 1,000, a bazillion times more they'd listen to you.
Oh, no.
But if you're not employed gainfully and or you have a free time, we would be happy to help broadcast slash put to the masses a semi-pirated version of that.
Okay.
Damn it. Especially the Portland game. Yeah. Okay. Good. Okay. So that was many people have asked that here, and then also earlier today. If the Sounders came back
right now, yes.
We're doing a selfie here.
No, it's a snap. It's a snap in the middle.
Oh, Snapchat.
Yeah. What's up?
If the Sounders came back tomorrow, 6 months, a year from now, and it's funny because I've been asked this about my previous job. Not that I'm any level you are. Would you go back if they came back and said, we want you back? And do you want to answer? If you don't want to answer, then talk about the weather.
Yeah,
please.
No, I mean...
you can please.
Feel free to answer about the weather.
Learn in life that you never burn your bridges, you never say never. I mean, you never know what happens in the future. I don't know what's going to happen in the future. Right. I've not closed off any avenues to anywhere, really. So what will be, will be.
Good answer. Sorry, I promised you I wouldn't do that, but I did it anyway. So I'm sorry. That was a great question there. What college? Grandma wants to know, what college did you go to?
I went to the University of Sheffield, which is what's called an old red brick university in the north of England, where my parents were both from, around that area. So, yeah.
And your team is Forest then? Are you?
No comment on who my team is.
I thought for sure I was going to get him there. I came back to it. I ignored it.
That's one thing, actually. That's one thing. Not to try and dodge the question, which I am absolutely dodging.
Yeah, you are.
Very skillfully, may I add.
In the UK, because a lot of broadcasters do games all around the country,
you
never, only very few, I mean, Arlo's an exception, actually put their colours on their sleeve and say, I'm a fan of this team or that team. I always have a big fondness for Derby County, of course, because broadcasted a long time there. But that's one of those things that you keep close to your chest.
All right. Do you follow any teams in Mexico?
Not really. No.
If you had to follow one, have you ever heard of one of the original and the one and only that matters, not the fake second made up version?
Oh, Club America, yes. Big America fan, yeah. That Champions League win, fantastic. And when they beat Chivas Guadalajara, I mean, even better. Am I on the right?
We have enjoyed Ross's first and only SonarFeed appearance. No me gusta. No me gusta.
Oh my God, that is.
That was not rehearsed.
I'll get my
Wow.
coat, shall I? Yeah, I'm out of here.
Wow.
Oh my God.
That was pretty cool. I didn't know about that.
That
rivalry.
was a joke, by the way. That was a joke. I'm a Monterey fan.
Sounder Monkey asked, were you a Wednesday or United fan at Sheffield?
Ooh, I would probably have to say I'm not a fan of either, but Wednesday, because my dad grew up in a house about 4 goal kicks away from Hillsborough Stadium.
Yep.
But I actually went to watch more Sheffield United when I was a student there.
Okay.
Because they embraced the students and get like £5 tickets to go and watch them play terrible soccer against Huddersfield Town.
Yep.
So there you go.
That's awesome. Okay. Let's ask some of the SonarFeed questions, and then we'll wrap it up with any last questions in the chat room and/or live. But let's ask some of the SonarFeed questions.
Yes.
Girl Scout cookies.
Ooh.
Are you?
Ooh.
Do you like Girl Scout cookies, or do you know of Girl Scout cookies?
Oh, I know of Girl Scout cookies. They get you every time.
Do you need a
don't
supplier?
they?
Oh.
I haven't. Is this the season now for Girl Scout cookies?
It is the season where we start reminding people.
Right.
Because in January,
It never really stops.
in January, we start taking orders.
You're a businessman, aren't you?
Maybe.
Are you a Girl Scout?
I am. Actually, I am. My daughter is the one who sells them, but I am a girl. I actually am legitimately a Girl Scout.
So you want me to be your middleman to get them back somehow to the UK, right? And you can make a huge markup.
Hashtag container load. Do you have a favorite Girl Scout cookie?
No, I don't. I don't know. I've not eaten enough
like
Girl Scout
coconut?
cookies.
Roasted coconut?
No, I hate coconut. And I hate peanut butter as well.
How about mint? Do you like mint?
Nope. Keep going.
Okay, then you're not gonna like any Girl Scout cookies.
Yeah, sure. Oh,
Oh, like
yeah.
tea, like lemon, like Russian
like
tea cookies.
teas, like teas
Yeah,
and
like the
biscuits.
shortbread ones
Yeah.
are awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
shortbread
well in
wings.
there. Well in there.
Crumpets.
Okay.
Skits,
Yeah.
crumpets.
Yeah. Okay.
You know.
Erin starts baking
Oh,
batches of
James.
hundreds of shortbread cookies.
That reminds
No, I'll
me.
sell you $4 a box. You can have as many as you want.
James is not happy about the Marmite thing.
Oh, no. Sorry, James. I've been stung too many times by that waft coming over my house.
Let's go. This is it. Everybody wants to know. No, everybody wants to know. What is your favorite kind of taco?
Okay.
Yes. Do they have
Soft shell.
good answer? Very good answer.
Chicken with some stuff on it.
Okay. Have you ever tried tongue? Beef tongue?
Beef tongue, lengua.
Lengua.
No.
Oh, my friend. Next time we will have some tacos de lengua.
Yeah, they're actually
They are so good.
they're really good. My daughter
Super
actually tried them
tender.
last time, and she she enjoyed them.
Yes.
Human?
No, beef.
Cow.
Cow tongue.
Cow.
Have a lot of people walking around your neighborhood.
Yes. So chicken tacos on the soft tortilla, corn and flour. No pressure.
All right, no, I'm there. I can do it.
Either one, flour or corn.
Either. No, I'm
Okay.
easy. Yeah, easy.
Nice to know.
One of
the last
each.
taco you had, I'm just curious. I'm just throwing that out there. I want to get as many as possible. I'm loving this.
You know, I don't eat a lot of taco. You can probably tell from the answer I gave. I don't eat a lot of tacos.
We're going to change that, my
So
friend.
that's
We're going to
fine.
change that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Biggie or Tupac?
I know you heard because you're a Sean Kemp fan. You grew up in the 90s. So
Too biggie.
Too big.
Too big. That is.
That is.
Other than Alan Hinton's answer, that may be the best one ever.
Yes.
What was
Yes.
Alan's answer?
Who?
My wife will give you a proper answer on that. I am clearly not cool enough. So,
All right.
move along.
All right. So, anybody else here have any questions in the audience? The first broadcast? Oh, worst. Worst broadcast booth you've ever been in.
Location-wise.
Oh my, I've got to have a think about that because in England you play you broadcast in a lot of antiquated stadia.
Yeah.
Where in America you're much better looked after. You have proper booths indoors, which have windows that open out, so you feel like you're outdoors. In the UK, everybody's crammed in these tiny rows like you're in a school desk where there's no room for your knees. There's no power outlets, so somebody who gets there first jams in their power pack, so you can't actually get power, so you've got to take batteries. And then it starts raining, so you've got rain slanting into your eyes. And this is like about 2/3 of English soccer grounds. So I probably don't have one that's absolutely abominable, because they pretty much all are. So that's probably the answer. Yeah, and if I think of one specific one, I'll get back to you on that. But yeah, English grounds are
Worse than MLS.
RFK Stadium.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, where you walk in. I'm 6'3". The booth is 4'3" tall, and luckily they put actually one row of padding with this yellow and black hazard tape as you walk in. And they're like, oh great, at least they've sorted this out. And that's the only one that they put hazard tape and padding on. The rest of it is totally exposed. So before the game, you're lucky if you don't have about 4 nicks on your forehead where you just walked in and you
my God.
Oh, okay, that's another pillar, like that. And then there's mice running around on the floorboards underneath you, and I think someone. What is it in RFK that somebody always sees? It's not a raccoon, but there's a rodent of some sort that lives there, and people always.
Squirrels?
Might be squirrels. I think it's squirrels that live there. And so if you see one in the booth, you're like, oh yeah, it's the RFK squirrel. Great.
That's
Everyone's
like the
friends
Pioneer
there.
Square pigeons.
But I have to say, I really enjoy RFK because, again, going back to the question about worst stadia in England, I'm used to those old creaking stadia in some of the lower levels. Even Goodison Park, Everton is creaking, and that's in the Premier League. And so that's kind of charming in a way. That rough house kind of appeal to it.
Have you ever been up in the Memorial Stadium canopy?
I daren't go up there. The moment I go up there, it's going to start shaking, isn't it? And we're going to have the big earthquake. And
it's
and
really
we're all
cool.
gone.
It's like so old school. It is.
I mean, great view of the Space Needle, but
but it's cool.
Can't see the game so high up.
Exactly.
We got a quick shout out to our newest big time SonarFeed fan and family member, Evelyn.
Oh, Evelyn. Yes.
Evelyn. Yes.
Kyle
so
and
Lonnie
Lonnie.
and Kyle. Go ahead. They had a beautiful child.
A new
Congratulations.
baby girl.
Yes, baby girl. And they are very much a part of our
family.
They helped a ton with some of the first episodes we've ever done. A lot of the episodes we've done. Actually, Kyle was very a big part of getting rolled on here 2 days after he got drafted. He did SonarFeed before he did any other local media shows. So they just had a baby girl, and thank you for everything you guys do. We're very happy for you guys and for Evelyn.
Kyle loves #the future. He loves looking at the youth, etc. And the interview with Rolled On was very interesting. He I don't know, from your perspective, you don't want to necessarily talk about it, but he's one of the smartest guys that we've ever talked to as far as knowledge and just being his vision and everything else.
He does it with all the academy players. He does it not just with the superstars, which is probably where we all start. He does it with like the players that most people don't know about. I mean, the guy is good at what he does.
Yeah, and again, American soccer needs those guys. Hats off.
Yep. All right. Can you say squirrel 500 more times?
Hang on, you start the stopwatch. Someone counting?
I got it on my watch.
I can't. I can do it 5 times. Squirrel, 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 squirrel.
Yes.
How about that? Just put it
That
on
was
a
awesome.
loop. Put it on a
That was
loop.
great.
Is this legit?
Bedlington Terriers, there we
Is
are,
that real?
yes.
Wow.
Send that to Arlo White.
That's awesome. Kyle Shields from Yakima wants to know, was this the simplest of interviews?
Great word, by the way. Love it, Kyle. Oh my God.
Am I supposed to answer that?
You don't have to. You don't have to.
Yes. Simplest of interviews.
He would want to know pizza or taco.
Pizza. Oh,
Yeah,
pizza.
I knew
Yeah,
that was-
pizza.
yeah.
Yeah, don't do that. Yeah.
Ross versus Casey.
Wow.
Ross versus
Seriously?
Casey boxing match. Who wins and why?
Oh, that's a great question.
Ooh.
It's getting intense here.
I said, well, he's the athlete, isn't he? I would just try and talk him
He's
around.
a goalkeeper, so I mean, kind of an athlete.
We love you and we still love you.
My
Even in
daughter
person.
is an athlete too. I mean, a goalkeeper too. So I'm just kind of,
Great.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a smart answer, and I can't. So I'll just say me, first round knockout.
all right, Ross versus Casey drinking contest. Who wins and why?
Oh, me, absolutely. Yeah. Like one margarita, he is anybody's.
Which goes great because Liz just said that there's going to be plenty of tequila at that end of the year party for you.
And margarita, no salt. This again is kind of this is the kind
nice.
of the meet cute about me and Casey, that we were in Montreal start of last season, and it was the snow game in the Olympic Stadium, and we get there on the Friday night ahead of the Saturday game, and there's myself, there's Casey, there's Jackie Montgomery, and there's Taylor Graham in the broadcast team, and it's already snowed a ton. And life on the road is quite fun because you all bond and you become a little family yourself. So we go out for a meal, and by this time, this is my third season with Casey, so you know each other pretty well, each other's quirks, what each other likes. Just a little side story, really, that we run through the snow to this 24-hour diner. Wow. And we sit down. It's quite late on, so we're in a hurry to order. And I order whatever I want. I'm like, pancakes and vodka and Coke, because nothing says eating quality like pancakes and vodka and Coke. And then Casey orders his whatever 24-hour breakfast, and then says, "And I'll have a margarita. I'll have a margarita." And before Jackie can get to order, I go, "No salt." And he goes, "Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, sorry." So it's just funny the things you learn about each other. So if ever you buy Casey a drink, buy him a margarita.
No
but
salt.
No salt.
Interesting.
All right, good.
I don't know why I told that story.
Great freaking story.
But I've done it.
That was a great story. That story, no kid, no joking aside, is what makes SonarFeed.
Yeah.
That story right there. It's just little in between moments. We're gonna ask you like favorite goals, favorite this and that, but those stories we can't.
A little behind the scenes stuff that you wouldn't normally hear.
Yes, you brought the bacon home on that one.
Hey.
So a good friend of ours is going to England for the next 5 or so months.
Right.
Five
It's
or
a
so
great
months.
time of the year. It's wonderful weather.
It's Seattle, but worse, right?
Yeah,
Basically?
pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
What is the one thing Brit must do while she's in England?
Good name, seeing she's going
I
to
know
Britain.
I know, it's
Yeah.
awesome, isn't it? The funny part is when I read the question the first time, I'm like, what's the one thing you should do in Britain? But then, what's the one thing Brit should do while she's in England?
What's the one thing? I would say go to a traditional English pub,
Okay.
sit there at the bar, and see if anybody actually says hello to you within half an hour.
So are you saying
No one.
Are you saying England is almost more passive aggressive and cold than Seattle?
It's not passive aggressive. It's just a little bit standoffish, I think. And that's what I love about Seattle. You can sit at a bar, and anybody will say hello to you and come and chat. It doesn't matter what age or denomination you are. People will just chat. I love that. At least I found that as a Brit coming over to the US, whereas we're a bit more standoffish in the UK.
Okay.
It's a bit more stiff upper lip, stiff collar or whatever. But no, actually, I'm being a bit facetious there. Do go to a traditional British pub, have a pint of mild, sit by the roaring log fire, and have a real ale.
Real
Yeah.
ale.
Have
Real
a
ale.
Real ale. Yeah.
That was
Warm
Dave
beer?
with the real ale.
warm, flat beer. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And
I
then get to
love a
Buckingham
lot of
Palace
things
and
about
try and
Britain,
see the
but
Queen. Yeah.
Okay. Nirvana or Pearl Jam? Or other?
Ooh,
For
yeah.
Seattle.
The thing is, I'm not a big music
Soundgarden.
guy, so I wouldn't necessarily lean towards either.
Okay.
I'd probably say Nirvana because my brother was big into them.
Okay.
So
All right.
Good answer.
Fair enough. So we are officially at 1 hour and
Megan's excited
58
about that.
minutes.
Okay.
So we're going to go ahead and wrap up.
That is probably our longest ever.
It may be. So
SonarFeed
thank you
episode.
all for
Is
hanging
anyone
out.
still listening?
We have actually maintained.
I feel like 3 or 4 people that have
Yeah.
not fallen asleep here.
Yeah, at least. There's the funny
Someone's
part-
here way past their bedtime.
Yes, you are. Yes.
Love it.
Ross, thank you so much.
No, thank you for having me.
Dude,
If
you're
you
the man.
if you stay in Seattle, you are always welcome down here, please.
Thank you.
Truly
Thanks,
a
guys.
legend. Yes. A lot of clapping
Jeremy's
going
prassing
on.
over there while
a
we're
lot
doing
of
this, but-
clapping.
But thank you
Except
so much for
Crass.
coming down. I mean, what a
Yeah,
just a
dude.
great, generous opportunity for you with
Beyond
a newborn at
generous.
home, and thank you to your wife for
Yes, thank
for
you.
allowing.
That's who we
not
really
allowing
wanna
you, but,
thank.
you know, for
Thank
helping
you.
out.
Hey,
as it
no
were.
problem at all. It's been
So
great.
thank you.
Really good fun. Really good
Good.
fun. And no, as I keep saying this, I've said this far too many times. No, thank you. It's been great. It's been a really great 4
Good.
years. And,
So Thursday night, 7 o'clock. You're buying the beer. Market Arms in Ballard.
yep.
Go out, see him. I got my daughter's soccer practice, but I'm going to try and get the wife to do that, so maybe I can squeeze out and come enjoy another evening with you. But
Great.
you're always welcome back here, and whatever we can do for you as a community.
Yes, anytime,
Please.
man. Just let us
Please.
know.
Thank you so
No,
much.
Yes.
Thanks, guys. It's been a pleasure. I
Thank you all
appreciate
for
it.
watching at home.
Truly
Thanks for
pleasure.
watching here.
Make sure you check out our Patreon page. It's
Which,
just
by the way, we
launched.
already have our first donation
Oh, what? Yes.
before the
Yes!
show's over.
Not worth it.
So I don't know who it is yet. I haven't looked it up, but
That's amazing.
We had 10 people who could donate $20 or more a month, and they can come as a special guest and enjoy the show and let them help us run the show. So we have a special
Let's
guest coming on. I'm not
go.
sure who it is yet. I'll look after the show, but
Let's go. I love
So,
it. Thank you.
thank you all for
you.
coming out. To all the folks behind the scenes, Jen and Max, who do
Yes.
a lot of the behind the scenes, to
Yes.
Lee, who's not here, Hugo,
Always a
Ross,
pleasure, man.
thank you.
Gentlemen, thank you.
We're going to go out one more time to Ross playing basketball. We'll see you guys next week with Adam.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Fantastic honour to put the GB vest on again, and hopefully I'm going to do the country proud, and for the East Midlands.
Ross Fletcher, East Midlands Today, Leicestershire.
Great shot. Good man.
Hey.
A lovely report from Ross there, but his talents don't stop there. Oh no, because while he was out filming that today, he proved that he might just be wasted as a reporter. Watch this and marvel.
Here we go. This is for bloopers. Yes, it's gone in. Fletcher's done it again.
On camera. Thank you. Good night.
Absolutely no way for me to top that, I don't think.
It's a fantastic honour to put the GB vest on again.